What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop in the Discord, links in the description box down below. And as we get rolling here tonight, guys, we have some news, some info, some updates, some shout-outs, appreciation. You know, quite a jam-packed Thursday stream as, you know, everyone tries to get into the Christmas spirit, get those last-minute holiday gifts.
Yeah, and our players definitely all spoke today, too. It's like they skipped yesterday, said, let's go today and go talk about everything. So we got a little more information, inside information, especially on some of our offense, our Texas Coast offense, some injured players on offense versus this Miami Dolphin defense. We'll talk about that and so much more here tonight on My Cowboys Family. But first, let's open things up and shout out those that make the world go around here, My Cowboys Family, right here in MCF with our sponsor of the week, the man staying skeptical.
Skeptical fan.
Much love to him. You see him at the bottom there on that streak, on that little, ticker. Much love to the sponsor of the week, Skeptical Fan. He's not just the sponsor of the week.
He's the membership gifting king as well, showing the love to the rest of the MCF fam.
Yeah, he had 10 last week, gifted. He's running the show again. I think he's 7 into it right now this week. Trying to go back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. And speaking of back-to-back like in our 90s Cowboys, Stanley Smith, back-to-back Cash App King. Yes, 2 weeks in a row, 3 out of the last 5 weeks, domination by Stanley Smith, wearing that crown in the Cash App. But he's got some competition this week because the leader, and this was after the stream, I kind of did the numbers. I know we had Big D in the lead. No. It's the guy you guys know, Jason Renfro. Woo. He is currently in the lead by a couple in front of Big D in the Cash App side of things. So Jason taking the lead there. A lot of people moving up the board. It's a battle up the top of that board because Zack Luna, 35 points. He's hanging on to that stream boss. Much love to him. But even bigger shout out to Zack because he's currently leading the overall board against everyone here. Zack Luna in first place, trying to come for that sponsor of the week. And we got those updates out of the way. Let's also let you know, as you've seen before, super chats or thanks button after video posts are different ways of helping out the channel, as well as, the membership side of things. There's 4 different levels. There's also gifting. Once you're in the membership, you can gift memberships, as we just said. Skeptical running things there. A great way to help out the channel and give back to the family in the chat. But then there's another way. You can also help out the channel and get on the boards here. And it's our Cash App board, specifically these 4 ways of getting in the running of things, baby. How can people challenge guys like Mr. Steven Smith, Mr. Jason Renfro? How do they test these guys? The leader, the king, Stanley Smith, and Jason Renfro. How can they test them?
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen like a super chat.
Yes, and every single day, except for Fridays, we shout out more people on Friday, but every day we shout out our star level and over everything level members, because they keep the world go running here on the nightly, on the monthly, and this month's currently on that star and over everything level. Baby, name me some of the people in there. Name me all the people in there.
Of course, you have Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Mary Alvarez, Andy Potch, Marissa Sparkle, Dwayne Broussard, Da Lunatic, and over everything, C. Bass.
Yeah. Much love to him and everybody in this level here. I also wanted to say that we have give big shout outs to those people in that star and over everything level membership, because every month, just a quick reminder, there is that star level membership, the everything level. Both those levels, everybody we just shouted out. If you're here in January, middle of January, you'll be entered once again into this membership raffle for only those top 2 levels. Sewn and Stitch jersey, Cowboys Mosh style, you know it here. Giving away a lot of the Lunatic, giveaways and raffles that we have for him. And so appreciate you guys in those top shelf memberships. A little thank you back for those in those higher levels of our membership. Now let's talk about who's in the house tonight here to talk some Dallas Cowboy football. Let's give those nightly shout outs to the people in the house right now.
We have Aztec Aguilar 04, much love. Bruce got the toxic juice, packing heat. The Lunatic, Puro Pinche Cowboys always. Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. Alonda Hanslu, and, again, I'm just hoping that Santa leaves what we want as the present under the tree. I'll be respectful.
I'll call
and
it
leave
one
there.
letter. It's a W is what we need.
Cassie Stewart, much love to you. Merry Christmas to you and the fam. Dwayne Brassard, the top dog himself. We have Mike Aldana, hello and hi. Dallas Cowboys 92 repping it. Ace Ventura, right? Oh, or who we know? We need Steve Irwin. We need Steve Irwin for these Dolphins. Snug X, you know why he's here.
Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention the man Snug, also making a run at that top spot because he dropped, of course, 5 last night. Dropped another 20 pre-stream today. So again, much love to Mr. Snug X, who's in 6th place on the overall board, and right behind people like Big D and Jason Renfro in the Cash App side of things. So yeah, I didn't want to forget about Mr. Snug X. It was an earlier drop from today. Much love to Snug. Yes, we know why he's here.
What's up, Juan Carlos? We have Jason Renfro, the man himself. Yeah. Much love. Rolling back, Texas Twister. Stay safe out there on the road. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Garrett, Roy Strassner, what's up? Here we go.
Roy in the house.
Freedom first, not first. And thanks for coming through. Let me see. Rolling back down here. Dallas Cowboys 92. Antoine Scott, what's up? So I think that's everyone here so far. So, baby, you know what's percolating in the NFL?
Yeah.
That's Cowboys adjacent, as always, you know.
Let's talk about it all here. So first and foremost, I just wanted to make a comment. First of all, week 17. This is week 16. Week 17 games, there was some, you have to make a decision if you're going to change the game now, like today. And no changes made to the schedule. Okay. Even with a lot of interesting games that are not going to be like necessarily nationally televised games or, primetime games. So that's an interesting non-switch. We'll see what happens. Now, another interesting switch or change, I guess. NBC Universal and the NFL say that the Peacock NBC game between the Bills and Chargers this Saturday will include the NFL's first ever commercial-free fourth quarter.
Oh.
We never had one of those before, so brace yourselves. Yes, Bills, Chargers on Saturday, no commercials in the fourth quarter. Very interesting in a NFL game.
It makes you want to watch it just on principality. Because I have to admit, no commercials. I'm just saying, even just stuff as simple as showing the team on the sideline, or showing some of the fans in the stands, almost like you're at the stadium and they show different people in the stands and stuff like that. I would much prefer that over the commercial actual regular commercial breaks, right?
Yeah, so that's what's coming. At least this Saturday in that first kind of, give me that little experiment there. Oh, never experimenting, just dropping the knowledge. Mr. Amazing Games all the way on the west side of the United States. What amazing games have to say with that 5 on it.
Woo, he said, West Coast, best coast love. Thank you, Amazing Games. Much love.
Yes.
For the love there with that $5 holler. And, we always appreciate the West Coast love. How much love Dallas Cowboys have for their Cali compatriots.
Exactly. We're worldwide here, of course. But the great thing is that when you have, we're in the East Coast here doing a late stream for us. But, hey, West Coast, it's like prime time over there. So, again, appreciate you guys listening on all sides. But we know we got a lot of West Coast flavor in the house when we go late in the East Coast. The late nighters stay up with us here in the East Coast, but normal time for most of the rest of the country.
Whether you're a late night, staying up with us, or daytime, depending on your time zone, or watching the replay. Appreciate it all.
Appreciate everybody on that. So again, good stuff there. Now I do want to make a quick mention here on what's going on when it comes to coaching. And we're going to talk about our coach here in a moment because he spoke today, Mr. Mike McCarthy. But when it comes to McCarthy, and we've had, of course, there's always the thought, okay, what if he gets fired at the end of the year? Mike Florio today, which I don't really buy into all of his crap, like clickbait stuff, but he said that according to his thoughts, his sources, quote, not impossible that Bill Belichick would be on Jerry Jones's radar if the Cowboys lose in the playoffs, and if that is pinnable. Directly. If it's defense screwing up, it's one thing. But if it's pinnable to Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones may look at Bill Belichick. And we talked about this yesterday as a possibility. I know we discussed this a lot yesterday, actually. So we kind of ready, you don't have to go over it again, but this just kind of adds that fuel to that fire that we were thinking that, hey, you want to have some names next year? I know Sean Payton was looking like he would get fired, but now he's looking like, at least one of the people in the middle of the Coach of the Year talk there, he's not going to be around. So you're looking at the guys that Jerry Jones would take, big name guys. Well, there you go. Bill Belichick. I'm not saying that's the move. I'm just saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying Mike Florio is saying kind of we said, hey, take a look at him as an option. Florio said Jerry Jones might be open for that if a playoff loss and the Cowboys get knocked out of the playoffs because of something that Mike McCarthy did. Oof, he's in trouble.
Yeah, that like I said, that specifically is going to be a hard one to overcome.
If it's pinned to him, right?
Exactly. Again, pinned to him. We've been saying it. Offensive scheme. That's the tail on that donkey.
And I think the adjustments too in the playoffs. You see yourself messing up. If he can't challenge the play,
true.
Like against the Bills,
a lack
that's
of
adjustment,
on him. Time clock management, and all those things.
Penalties and also on that too. I'm just saying it's a lot of things.
Yes and no. Just because obviously some penalties are definitely a discipline issue, but I mean, how much can you discipline a guy like Sam Williams into somehow not committing penalties? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, we just happen to have one or two guys that are just, sloppy jalopies. I don't know what to say there. So
undisciplined, I guess.
Patriot, what's up?
So yeah, no, just a thought. Interesting there.
The lunatic. Honestly, I don't know if the Dallas media could handle Belichick because I think McCarthy does a great job of being open and expressive enough about what's going on without necessarily giving away all the trade secrets, a la Jason Garrett and Jerry. Right, because it starts with him. If anything, Belichick is we're probably gonna see one day like Belichick yelling at Jerry for saying some shit that Belichick didn't want out there.
That seems to me the thing is that Belichick will overshadow Jerry Jones. That might not be approved by Jerry and company. We'll have to wait and see on that. But just some thoughts. Anyway, that's rumor stuff. Let's get to real stuff, Cowboy stuff. Mike McCarthy speaking today, guys. And the first thing he said, he spoke about the creativity of Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. He said, quote, "You have to have a lot of appreciation for what he has done." And he also said that he puts players in the best position to make big plays. So this is on Mike McCarthy. It kind of runs a little bit like a much better version of Kellen Moore.
Well, I think it just really highlights that when you have a coach that is very offensive minded, or a coach that's, when I say coach, head coach, you do feel that impact a little bit more. And, if you can scheme your guys into success, you can take a scrub and make them look like a starter.
Yeah. Look, either way,
scheme goes a long way.
Yeah, McDaniel knows how to even take those guys like Tyreek Hill and make them even more dynamic. I think that's also what he kind of elaborated on. The only other thing that's important that Mr. McCarthy said here, the big bubble before practice, was information about this guy. Ooh, number 77, Tyron Smith. He's on the injury list yesterday, the first day of the practice report. Left tackle Tyron Smith has a back injury, right? So there, he was asked today, what's going on with Tyron Smith's back injury? Usually it's a rest day usually, but this is listed as a back injury. And so McCarthy said this, quote, "It's something that happened from the game." Obviously, I'm going to say, obviously it's not in practice because he ain't practicing.
I'm just saying, oh, please say less.
Well, no, as he said, it's something that happened from the game.
All right.
He's working through it. And he said that he's scheduled to do more today in practice than he did on Wednesday. Quote, "We still have a lot of time." I don't know. When I hear that, I get nervous. When I hear McCarthy say we got a lot of time, he sounds more positive, of course, than other guys. Like Hankins, obviously, we know he's not going to. But it still makes me nervous. The way, we got a lot of time. It's like, oh, it's not. Yes.
It does really suck. But think of it this way, guys. We got 8 more weeks out of Tyron Smith than I ever expected to get out of him all season. And that's not to somehow reduce it to oh, now he's getting hurt. It's just, he has been taking a whole season's worth of hits still, and it is going to eventually catch up to him. So, on one hand, yes, I'm worried. On the other hand, we've been down this road, this specific rodeo before, so I don't have any reason to doubt that it is as small, I guess, as it is. Not small, but you got.
It's not just rest. It's not just management here. It's something actually that happened in the game, and he's trying to. He played through it. He's got to deal with this and manage it right the rest of the week with time, like McCarthy said, to be ready to roll.
It during the game, that's what I'm saying. With lots of rest, some extra rehab. Obviously, it takes more effort, I'm assuming, than his usual, regular, already crazy rehab. Insane. So
exactly. So that's that side of things. That's the only thing he really spoke about, McCarthy, when it came to real injuries and stuff. We'll talk about the other injury stuff here in a moment because the Cowboys today held, and believe it or not, this is our final allowed padded practice of the regular season. Remember, you only get a certain amount for the whole year.
Okay.
And now you use them, distribute them. We don't have any more padded. I don't know if we have any more padded practices for the 2020. Or I'm sorry, for the regular season.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. When it comes to pads on, the team now, the Cowboys, can practice in pads, still do it once a week, but only during the playoffs. Interesting little new rule there with the extended season. You cannot overwork these guys. It's part of the NFLPA side. It's like, they're pretending to the players to not overwork them with the extra game. So you gotta look at that. It's interesting little tweaks. You gotta balance as the head coach. You gotta know your shit, like we know our shit, right? So, anyways, the point is, last padded regular season practice. That means there's no more practice for the Lions in pads. There's no more practice for the Washington Commanders in pads. Now, playoffs, the whole different thing. But
I know, but it still seems like that's a lot of teams that are finding themselves all of a sudden with no ability to practice with pads and 2 weeks out from the end of the season.
Yeah.
Officially.
Yeah, and I don't know if the way other teams might have maybe not taken as many padded practice days and saved them for the end of the season.
Yeah.
But again, you want to make sure you manage your guys for the end of the season. Why? Well, playoffs. You don't want to break them and bust them up, right?
It's a careful balancing act between obviously getting enough time and reps to actually, do something in practice. And like you said, crossing over into that, oh man, you did maybe a little too much here. So
yeah. I also think look at it like this too. Our last padded practice, you know how McCarthy loves using the grass fields.
Yeah.
The grass. But the Cowboys started outdoors today, and because of a severe rainstorm that hit, guys, and the rain was coming down hard in this last regular season padded practice for the Cowboys, and we had to basically the Cowboys went outside within minutes, went back inside.
So it was going to half wasted.
I don't want to say half wasted, but it is unfortunate that the Cowboys on their last padded practice had to, I guess, not play on the surface that McCarthy likes to play on the best. Also, the surface we're going to see in Miami, which is grass. Now, we went and the Cowboys had to practice indoors at the Ford Center field there, which I guess you could say are other than the field itself. They, it's the inside. We were more obviously drier conditions, more what resemble what we're going to see, I guess, on Sunday against Miami. So, anyways, the point is. That is the way the practice went. They don't really know much other than that. They came out, the practice went back in. Practice report, injury report came out, and that is really, the thing that will tell us a little more about, how these Cowboy players are doing, banged up or not. And when it came out, there you go again, guys. Tyron Smith, Zack Martin, both on the injury report, and both of them did not practice. So even though McCarthy said Tyron Smith was supposed to do a little more today, not really. They didn't practice, at least not enough to get into a actual practice here with the pads on.
Designation. Yeah, they were on the sideline designation, more like.
I'll get back to those two guys in a minute when it comes to the injury report. Another guy I look at here is, of course, Malik Hooker with the ankle injury. He was upgraded to limited today, which is good news. Great news, actually.
Trending in the right direction, for sure.
Definitely great news there. And he said he was going to do more this day, right, on Thursday. So he was close to playing last Sunday at the Bills. Being inactive was a game day call for him last week by the Cowboy staff, following a workout before the game. So it would be a lift for sure for the defense to be able to play against the Dolphins with him as that single high safety key piece in Dan Quinn's defense. So Malik Hooker with the ankle in a padded practice, upgraded to limited, which is fantastic news. He's, like you said, trending the right direction. But Tyron Smith, Zack Martin still did not practice at all. It seems to be mostly rest, and they both may be able to play. But now we got question marks now. We got to worry a little bit more. Other guys on our list, limited all week and limited the last 6 weeks. Rico Dowdle with his ankle injury. He should be good to go for the game, of course. He's been getting that for a while. Then you had the rest of the guys on our team. They were full practice, which is great news, right? Just 2 did not practice. Actually, 3. The other guy is Jonathan Hankins. This guy. Jonathan Hankins did not practice at all today. And guys, he ain't going to make it for this game. Number 95, the big man in the middle. So he didn't practice. These 2 guys didn't practice. Those were 3 guys that did not participate in practice today. And again, limited, upgraded. Malik Hooker, which is fantastic. We know Rico will play as long as no setback. Limited again with him. And everybody else, full practice. Melemi Fehoko, who is, not even back on the 53-man roster. Yeah, he's still injured reserve. So is Matt Walesko. Those two guys were full, but also, again, not going to be in this game. And Tony Pollard with the thumb, full practice 2 days in a row, good to go. So again, the three guys to worry about, the two linemen, Malik Hooker. And Malik Hooker's trending right. These two guys are getting right, hopefully, with some rest. Hopefully. Now, I leave them up, guys, because I just want to mention how important it will be to have both these guys on the field. Left tackle Tyron Smith. Right now, it sounds like, I'm just going to give it to you real, it sounds like Tyron Smith is a bigger concern for the Sunday game over our right guard, Zack Martin. So with his quad injury, compared to Tyron Smith's back injury, the Cowboys may not know on Tyron Smith until Saturday, maybe not until even game day. And that's bad news for him. The last time he did that, he didn't play against the Cardinals. Also, I want to mention, so I'm hearing some people saying, we don't have to win this game, so rest these guys. Listen, I am no way a proponent of that. I say get them in there, win as many games as you can, make the trek as easy as you can if they're able to play. But people are like, hey, let's get them ready for the last two games. I'm not a big proponent of that. I hope these guys are ready to go. A bruise on your fucking quad, on your thigh. Come on, Zack Martin, you got to play that game. And again, Tyron Smith in his back. That's why it's a little more touchy, because it is a back situation. He re-aggravated it, played through it. Can he get back onto that field on Christmas Eve against the Dolphins? We'll have to wait, maybe even game time for that. But the Cowboys have, listen, this is great news here. The Cowboys have started the same 5 offensive linemen in the last 7 games. And you said this. You said we got to see him a lot longer. Guys, 7 games in a row. We've had Tyler Biadasz starting with Zack Martin to his right, Tyler Smith to his left at the guards. And at tackles, right tackle Terrence Steele, left tackle, Tyron Smith. So it's been working. The management by McCarthy, just this one happened in the game when it comes to Tyron Smith. And again, this streak is definitely in jeopardy. Will we start the same 5 guys for an 8th game? That's almost a miracle. But knock on wood, we'll have to wait and see. I think tomorrow will tell us a lot more on Zack Martin. I think he'll be limited and probably questionable, and he'll be good to go, I think, for the game. If you ask my opinion on Tyron Smith, I don't know. Sounds like a Saturday pregame workout walkthrough thing. And then flying to Miami, they'll probably do another little pregame workout game time decision for Tyron Smith. That's how I see it playing out. Let's hope they're all both good to go, and so is Malik Hooker, and go Cowboys. That's the hope. But how important are both these guys to the Cowboys, who did not practice for 2 days in a row with these injuries, especially in protecting our quarterback, Dak Prescott, against the Dolphins' good defense? Zack Martin, he allows only a 4.8% quarterback pressure rate. That is number 1 amongst all right guards that have over 300 snaps in the NFL. I mean, number 1. So he, out of everybody who's played guard this year in a good amount of time, he is solidly number 1, allowing the least amount of quarterback pressure. That's a big loss if TJ Bass got to go in there. And then you got Tyron Smith at left tackle, 7.2% quarterback pressure rate. Again, at tackle, it's always harder than guard with the pressure situation, allowing it on the quarterback. But Tyron Smith is one of the best. 7.2%. That is second among all left tackles that have at least 250 snaps or more. So domination by these guys. We need them both on that field. We need them both for the playoffs and the whole rest of the season. But damn, it would be nice to not miss these guys somehow. We'll see what happens. Any quick thoughts on that, baby? And from you, from the chat, before I move on to our next topic here. We're rolling through it.
Mike Aldana saying, let's take care of business. And if the Eagles lose one of those games against the Giants, then so be it.
I just want to make sure I also mention, it doesn't have to be against the Giants either. It could be the Cardinal game, believe it or not. The Giants could lose to the Cardinals, and I don't think they will. But they lose the one game. Only if we lose to the Miami Dolphins or the Lions, it has to be one or the other. We have to beat Washington. But if we win our second game against the Dolphins or Detroit and beat Washington, the Eagles, if they lose any game, we get the division.
Out.
Yeah, so that is any of these losses. Again, it could happen right now. They're banged up. We talked about it yesterday. They're going through a little bit of a soul-searching moment over there in Philly. Let's hope it keeps affecting them against the Giants this week. The Eagles get 2 home games back-to-back and then on the road back in New York. We'll see what happens.
Let me roll through some of these comments here. Cassie Stewart said, Tennessee beat the Dolphins. I know that the Cowboys can.
That whole thing about if you beat them, it usually doesn't really play out, right? It's more matchups, right?
You never know, but DeLunatic said, rest them versus a meaningless game, probably against the Commanders. So not Miami or Detroit. So
no, hold on. No. Who said that?
The Lunatic.
The Lunatic. All right, let me tell you this, the Lunatic. The Washington game is the most important game, my brother. That is the most important game. No one can rest in that Washington game. No one. We have to get that one to go 5-1 in the division. And if the Giants beat the Eagles, out of those games, they play the Giants the last 3 remaining games for the Eagles. So that's how we win the division, but we got to beat Washington. Now the other thing is that we can, again, I'm not saying I want to lose, no one wants to lose, but the Lunatic, if we lose to Miami and we beat Detroit and we beat Washington, the Eagles lose any game on their schedule, the last 3, we are the NFC East champions. If we beat the Dolphins and lose to the Lions and then beat Washington, the Eagles lose to any of the 3 games they got left, guess what? We win the NFC East. We're probably 3rd seed because we lost to the Lions, but we still win the NFC East. Do you guys feel me on this? This is I know I say it a lot, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So we can lose against the Dolphins or the Lions as long as we beat Washington and the Eagles lose any game. It's not as hard as you may think. I think it's possible. I have a feeling that it could happen. We got to handle our business, whether it's 3 in a row or 2-1. If we go 2-1 or 3-0, if the Eagles lose a game, we still win the division. So it doesn't matter if we lose a game, as long as it's not the Washington Commanders. I don't know. I hope I got it all straight. I don't know if
Mike Alnana said it. We're fighting for the division too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to lose any games, and I'm fighting for that. I want to get that 2nd seed. Maybe you get lucky, get the 1st. I doubt it, but we don't want to lose that Lions game for that reason. Really, any game we want to lose is the Dolphin game. If you had to lose a game, lose the Dolphins. The Detroit game gives us a 2nd seed. If things go our way, we beat Detroit, beat Washington, and the Eagles falter in 1 game. That's it. Simple as that, guys. The division is there for us to almost take over. And again, like I said earlier this week, if the Cowboys lose to the Dolphins, but the Eagles lose to the Giants this weekend, guess what happens? We have control. We control our own destiny, officially control. And that's with us losing as long as the Eagles lose also. So, there you go. I don't know. Any other quick comments on that before we keep it rolling here?
I think we kind of touched on most of the really important ones, so let me kind of roll back. Yeah.
Right, good. So let's keep it going here, and let me get these guys. The injury. I'll be talking, I'm sure, more about these guys in a moment, and a couple other of our, after practice kind of situations. But let's talk about this game that we got in front of us right now against the Dolphins. The Cowboys visiting the Dolphins. You remember the last time we played in Miami, baby?
I mean, I know we tried to get tickets for it, didn't we? Or we wanted to go see it, but it's been at least 6 years or something, right?
It's always 8 years.
Unless we play. For some reason, I feel like I thought we faced off against.
Well, we played them in Dallas, but the thing was, the Dolphins. Last time we played the Dolphins in Miami, 2015. You know what happened? I remember the exact day.
Was that a London game or something?
No, that was Jacksonville. No, I remember that because we were in the mountains and we had that nice picture of that guy sitting. Anyway, the thing is that the Dolphins that game 2015, Tony Romo came back from that broken collarbone and threw a left-handed pass in his first game back from the collarbone injury. It wasn't a very pretty game, but we won.
Didn't he get hurt the week after?
Yeah, that too, the next week was Carolina and Thanksgiving, and then broke his collarbone again. So, anyways, this game the Dolphins are going to be wearing their throwback uniforms, which has the 50-year patch on their left shoulder. So again, they're going with their throwback uniforms. The Cowboys are going with our normal, home white look, the home white jerseys. So that's what we're going to be using on the road. And I'm telling you, even if it's a little chilly in Florida right now or Miami, guess what? It's better to be wearing that white than that dark when it comes to the Florida heat, even at the end of December. And then also, of course, the Dolphins, like I said, they're going to be wearing their teal colored jerseys with the little throwback patch with the thicker lines. So you got their throwbacks this week for the Dolphins. Now, as far as the games for this week and on the schedule, let me just put it like this. When you look at our schedule and our remaining games, I'm just going to put us in the mix here. You see the Dolphins, Lions, and Washington. This week, right now, there's 11 games that matter for us.
Okay.
11 games out of the 16.
And that's quite a bit.
Yeah. That's counting the one.
Everything's Cowboy Jason. I told you.
It counts the one that we're playing, and then 10 other ones. Okay. Of course, we got to beat the Dolphins. We want to cheer for, of course, when it comes to the division or the top seed division, we want the Giants to beat the Eagles, And for the top seed, we want Baltimore Ravens to beat the Niners.
Okay.
Now, for the strength of victory tiebreaker, which is the one we're going to have to probably fall to if we both win out. We want to try to win that. We want to root for the Chargers, the LA Chargers over the Bills, the Jets over Washington. That's easy. Mm-hmm. The Seahawks over the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
The Panthers over the Green Bay Packers. It's going to be tough. The Lions over the Vikings. Yeah, believe it or not, we want the Lions to win. That would help us. The Jacksonville Jaguars over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bears over the Cardinals. And the Raiders over the Chiefs. If you can tell, there's a little theme there. The teams we're rooting for, the Chargers, the Jets, the Seahawks, the Panthers, the Lions. How about that's it. Those ones right there. You know why there's actually forget the Lions. Those other four, Chargers, Jets, Seahawks, and Panthers. You know why we're rooting for them? Those are all teams you can see on the schedule that we beat. And you're seeing us, and the Lions would be good too because we got to beat them to help us out. But the point is, when you look at why we're rooting for the Buccaneers to lose, the Cardinals to lose, the Chiefs to lose, those are the teams that either we lost to, but more so, it's not even we lost to the Cardinals. It's more that the Eagles beat these teams. So we want those guys losing to help us out. And by the way, if we're talking about the Detroit Lions a lot here, there is still a week to go. We know this. Over a week to go for that Detroit Lion game there on New Year's Eve. But the early odds for that Saturday game between the Cowboys and Lions at AT&T Stadium, which is the Jimmy Johnson Ring of Honor Day, Cowboys are 5.5-point favorites currently over the Detroit Lions at the moment, without these games being played yet this week. So just throwing it out there.
So hopefully that number only trends upwards.
Right? Just throwing it out there. We all on the same page. Let's keep it rocking. You know what I mean? Just that's it. We just know what's coming up in the future. We know we got to deal with some mammals that happen to swim in this game here. You know, when I say that, the first thing that comes, a mammal that can swim. Of course, we know. The first thing you think about is a mermaid, the Miami Mermaids. So their injury list, guys. They went from 7 did not practices yesterday down to 3 today. So they're getting healthy. Obviously, they were giving some rest. Positive Dolphin news: wide receiver Tyreek Hill, the ankle injury, he returned to practice, which is a good sign. I expected him to be back. You know, he missed last week, but he's expected to probably play in this big game against the Dolphins. You had other guys that returned to practice for the Dolphins, like left tackle Tyron Armstead, cornerback Xavier Howard, running back Devon. I can't say his name. I'll say Ashani. It looks like, but it's Achane. And then again, that's the good news for them. The bad news is they're still without right guard Robert Hunt and right tackle Austin Jackson. There's some weakness on that right side of the Miami Dolphin offense, which is one of their sturdier things this year. Again, looking at the whole list here, the guys that really got looked at here that have been improved on and are trending the right direction, you know, Achane, Armstead, Tyreek Hill, Xavier Howard, they all look like they're going to play this game, guys. Also, Deshaun Elliott, who had a concussion, was limited yesterday, still in the red jersey today, full practice. So he's also good to go. They're getting their entire secondary, their safeties and corners. They're getting them healthy. They're back. It's going to be a battle, guys. No joke. Lester Cotton, offensive lineman. I think he's currently their starter still. Hip injury for him in practice, but he was full practice today. So I don't know if it was something that happened after practice, something that, you know, it was just a minor thing. We'll find out more about that, I'm sure, tomorrow. But wherever Micah Parsons lines up, Micah Parsons, guys, he's going to be attacking this front line here. And when we look at Micah, right there, he's going to eat some mermaid. Wait, what? So wherever he's going to, hopefully Dan Quinn is going to move him around. He's going to line them up in, you know, over center, at the edges, mixing this shit up. But if it was me, Dan Quinn, listen up, family. What I would do with Micah, especially if Hunt, their right guard, and Austin Jackson, their right tackle, this is the blind side for Tua. Remember that, guys. The right side is his blind side. He's a southpaw. He's a lefty. If neither guy can go on the right side, or one of them can't go on the right side, and they are, you know, out for this game, that means you get backups on the right side. The blind side, Micah should be mainly lined up on their right side, which is our left side of our defensive front. We should see him all over that right side of the Miami Dolphin offensive line. Just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. So, speaking of Micah, by the way, day 4 of this shit. Move Micah to linebacker more often. Guys, this debate about using the best defensive player in the league at the worst, least valuable position is stupid. To me, the drop-off from Micah at edge to the next guy, whoever takes Sam Williams, Dorrance Armstrong, that drop-off is bigger than the small improvement you'll have with Micah at linebacker. I'll say it again in a minute. But first, Calvin Richard with the 5 on it.
Ooh, huge shout out to the man Calvin Richard, who, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, kicks things off on the official side of things. Right?
Amazing Games kicked it off.
Oh, true, that's right. Sorry about that, but thank you so much, Calvin Richard. Amazing Games before. $5 holler saying, how does Tyron Smith never get hurt in the game? Always in practice.
This was an in-game injury.
Yeah, so supposedly, according to McCarthy, this injury happened during the game, and they've just been kind of managing it, handling it since then. So, choose to believe that if you want.
But he pushed through the game. That's the point. He pushed through it, which is good news there.
Yeah, but one good thing about this year is that we finally figured out how to manage Tyron Smith. So him getting hurt in practice is basically a ghost of a bygone era, right? Because now this is the only way he's going to get hurt, because this is the only time he's taking snaps that can even cause him injury, I guess. Yeah,
so at least in that sense, if he's going to get injured, it'll be in a game, which means that, we don't want to see that happen, but that's an example of what happened here, right?
Mm-hmm. So, let me see, Mike Aldana throwing out there, have D-Law and Micah on the same side.
I think that would be too much, but you could have Micah, playing or standing over that A-B gap there, and have DeMarcus Lawrence on all the way to our left, which is their right side, blind side of Tua. Keep that pressure collapsing from that side. You just got to have the backside. They have to make sure they watch for that, for him breaking that pocket and just extending the play for Tua. And also guys like Osa in the middle there kind of push the pocket back into him too. So we'll see what happens. We talked about the defense, our defense yesterday versus this offense. I just want to throw in an extra little twist in here. So much love, Calvin. And he is, jumped into 7th place already right there, Calvin, with the drop. Appreciate you, Go Cowboys. Now, just continuing here. Micah Parsons, guys, the drop-off, what I'm trying to say is the drop-off that you're going to get from edge by moving Micah to linebacker. Like I said, you get Sam Williams and Dorrance Armstrong in there. That is a bigger drop-off from Micah's production to their production than Micah helping the linebackers, especially when they run away from him. That's going to be like a useless play to me. I mean, I'm not saying it'd be useful at the edge, but Micah Parsons at linebacker a couple times, it's cool. But to have a managed game at him there playing 50-50, that's probably a very bad idea for the Cowboys. The improvement is much less. And again, we know Micah's a freak. We know Micah can play anywhere on the field. He can do anything on a football field. But some people are saying, on first down, what do you do with Micah? Put him at linebacker on a running down. If you listen to this, baby, I want to make sure I get your feedback on this. But if you put him only on down or running downs, you put him at linebacker. If you're an offensive coordinator, what would you do? What would you do?
I mean, all I have to do, it's a simple thing. Just go the other way.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. Micah's on the right, I go left.
If but here's that's one way. But that's the obvious one, right? But here's another. I don't think we thought about this one though, baby. What if you're an offensive coordinator?
Okay.
And you know that on first down and some second downs, you don't have to worry about Micah Parsons rushing you. What are you gonna do?
Drop back and throw it.
Yep.
Probably deep. Heck, take a shot. Yeah,
well, not saying deep, but just saying you just go back and throw it. Yeah. You throw the ball. If you're an offensive coordinator and you know he's not going to fucking be pass rushing on first downs and some second downs, then you're going to throw the ball. Yeah, it looks like a pass. A running down. Don't matter. You get a bonus non-rushing play by Micah Parsons. So when Micah plays linebacker, do you know what he's best at in linebacker? Not stopping the run. He's the best in coverage. That's his specialty, coverage. We got Marquise Bell. He's one of the best coverage linebackers right now in the NFL. So getting Micah back there at linebacker is coverage help. It's not run stopping help, which is what people think they want to put Micah there and just use him as a run stopper. Let me just say something, guys. I don't know how much people put into the PFF grades, but he's had one game that had a run stop grade above 80, which is like fantastically good, right? But one game where he's actually had the run stop up that much. Let me just remind you guys, that's one game out of 47 games in his career. In each of his 3 years, he's had a higher coverage grade than a run stop grade in all 3 seasons. Doesn't matter how much you use them here or there, everywhere. He's a dominator at edge. You don't want to play him too much at linebacker. And if you look at Micah Parsons when he has games where he's at least 20 snaps as off-ball linebacker, meaning like an inside, let's say inside linebacker.
Yeah.
In 2021, and I'm not gonna go through the games or how many times he went. He had run like linebacker snaps. He had 38 snaps week 1 of his first game. 77.9 run stop was his grade. I'm just gonna go through the run stopping grades in his career when he played 20 or more snaps at linebacker. 77.9, 60.1, 59.8, 39.6, 51.9, 58.1, 48, 69, 61.2, 37.1, 66.8, 66.5, 64.6, 79.7, 68.3, 75.4. What I'm trying to say is none of these numbers are better than Marquise Bell and Damone Clark just in this season have 4 70-plus grades. I'm sorry, Marquise Bell has 4 70-plus grades at linebacker for run stop. Damone Clark has 3. In this guy's just this year. Micah in his career has 1. So that is obvious that the better run stoppers are already at linebacker. Micah Parsons actually maybe the same, maybe a little better in some ways in coverage, much better, but run stop is the issue. Run stopping makes no difference there. You keep him at edge most of the time. And
I do want to throw out, too, that part of it is the impact that Micah can have. Let's be real. Micah's probably going to have a bigger impact on the team,
at the edge.
Than he ever will at any linebacker position, even combined.
You have to, when an offense has to rearrange their entire kind of scheme and have players always looking at where Micah is when it comes to edge rushing, that's an advantage right off the bat. You can't even measure that. That's an advantage already, and it helps the rest of your team. So the NFL even says, listen, the least amount of players earning over $10 million a season for any position in football other than center is linebacker. The highest paid linebacker would be the 12th highest paid edge rusher. The 10th highest paid linebacker isn't even in the top 30 edge rusher. I'm just saying that the 10th highest paid linebacker getting all this money is not even a top 30 edge rusher. So it makes, obviously we know the importance of that edge.
Dak's contract.
Yeah, exactly. So the Niners, by the way, I want to say one thing too. One last thing. So we're talking about Micah and his, how can he help the run stop? The Niners and the Cowboys both allow the same yards per carry, running the ball. 4.3 yards per carry. You got to move Nick Bosa to linebacker. You got to move him to linebacker. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. But then no one's shouting, no one's screaming for Nick Bosa to go move at linebacker. And why he should help the run at linebacker, right?
Look, even I admit, though, that it is a little bit different with Micah because regardless of wherever he ended up, he was drafted as a linebacker.
I agree.
And expected to play linebacker.
And he knows the position. Yes. I agree.
All I'm saying is I can understand why some people, are still on that or
pushing for more linebacker snaps for Micah Parsons. But I do want to reiterate, though, I just want to say this. I know you're right. I'm making a point though. If it's so easy to help your running game with a dominant edge rusher and moving that guy to linebacker, why aren't other teams doing that? Why is it up to us to go and try to? I understand Micah was drafted at line, but why would you move one of the best, if not the best, pass rusher in the league to linebacker? That makes no sense. Hey, by the way, T.J. Watt. The Pittsburgh Steelers are allowing 4.3 yards. He's an outside linebacker. He got drafted. Go to linebacker, too. Help out the run game. The run stop, right? I'm just making a point. Like, T.J. Watt was drafted as an outside linebacker. We know he's a defensive edge rusher, blitzer. But my point is, if you want to fix your run, you move your best, the edge rusher, to linebacker. I know it makes a little more sense with Micah, but you guys get the picture here, right?
It's still an L. It's still a bad move to make.
Yeah, I don't mind moving around the defensive line. I don't mind dropping the linebacker a couple plays here and there, but you don't want to do that consistently. And also, one last thing, forget about what I say, or what other content creators say, or what the analysts say. I know Brian Baldinger said we should move more to there, and others have said differently. But you know what? Fuck everybody. Fuck us. I don't forget all these content creators. Forget what we say. Let's hear from Micah Parsons himself. He said this today on Twitter about this exact thing. You know, basically, the question was, moving him, you know, look, why are people complaining about Micah Parsons? Why are they complaining about moving on linebacker? And Micah Parsons responded to that. He was sick of it. He said this, quote, "It's because teams are running the ball and people like to panic," meaning like the content creators or, you know, fans. He goes, "Teams are running the ball and people like to panic. I'm probably leading every category in pass rushing besides sacks. People are nuts. And if people watch film, they take shots and pass more when I'm off ball at linebacker or out of the game. We have to get better at this, period." Now, he's saying, not him, you guys, the people out there analyzing this shit, we got to get better at really look at the impact that he will make at linebacker and be really serious about this, not just throw it out there because you're panicking, as Micah said.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe anybody in this whole thing. The only guy I believe when they say about Micah Parsons' position and where he should play is Micah Parsons and Dan Quinn. But Micah Parsons is speaking it here. He's saying anybody that says give him more linebacker snaps is wrong, is stupid. Why? He just said it. The more you move him off ball as a off ball linebacker, the more you put him as a middle linebacker, the more of a blessing it is for opposing quarterbacks. The more opposing quarterbacks are like, oh yeah, whew, I can take a little bit of a breather now. Micah's at linebacker. And like Micah said, when he's at linebacker, at off ball linebacker, when he is out of the game, what do the other offenses do? They take more shots throwing the ball. You feel me, guys? Mm-hmm. And so you want them in there when they're throwing the ball because of the pressure. So if they see Micah's out of the game, they might, you know, and they'll say, okay, instead of this run play, let's audible to a pass. That's what they're doing. That's what Micah's telling us. So you can believe ESPN analysts, you can believe Brian Baldinger, you can believe any content creator that says differently. But in the end, believe Micah Parsons. That's what I believe.
I mean, of course I'm going to believe Micah a little bit more than, you know, some randos, right? So, but real quick, Mike Aldana saying, you know, we discussed that. Oh, okay, yeah, we discussed that at the start of the live stream. Thank you for that, Mike. So, but Mike also added in there, Micah's better at getting quarterback pressures and creates opportunities for everyone else. That's the other side of the impact. Not just Micah obviously contributes more to the game on an individual level. How does this benefit the team? Because remember, it is a team effort. Micah on the D-line means literally everyone, including the linebackers, look better. Just saying. So, and again, I don't think that, you know, something that gets lost in all this linebacker discussion too, you mentioned this the other day, the type of linebacker that we actually need is not the type of linebacker that Micah Parsons necessarily is.
Hey, he's more of a coverage linebacker. He's an impactful linebacker, but he's much more impactful at edge. And if you had trouble coverage at linebacker, you can make a bigger case for that. But without him, with him being not really that great, he's good. He's not that great at run stopping, and you don't want to throw him in there. And then you're losing also an edge rusher. That's stupid. Yep. So, anyways, I want to know what Micah said. Forget me. We heard what Micah said on Twitter. He was interviewed today after practice, and he was just saying about, you know, a lot of the Cowboys that speak today spoke about playing on the road and what's going on with his team. Starting with Micah Parsons. What did he say?
There's a mindset of how you approach it. When you're at home, you're comfortable, you kind of do what you do. But when you're on the road, you're in a new space, in a new area, just a new environment. And the mindset is the lion is roaming. Does he take over the land or does he die? Last week, we died. We got to take over some land this weekend.
I guess there you go. The cute metaphors.
I think it was Lion King.
He better just get out there and tear some shit up instead of talking about it. That's all. We'll leave it there.
As far as Tyreek Hill, Micah said, quote, Tyreek knows I'm faster than him. It's no fun at all when you're getting ready to go against someone like Tyreek Hill, because I know I got to run faster than I ever have all year. I might hit a miles per hour max speed chasing someone like him. It's fascinating to watch it, but when you're actually playing in it, it's like, oh, damn, I got to deal with this shit now. Damn. But it's cool. Tyreek Hill hooked me up with some tickets for my fam coming down for the Christmas game, and that's a blessing. I'm just excited to play.
Hey, that's pretty cool there for him. But again, remember, they actually raced in the Pro Bowl. I think his rookie year, they raced in a 40-yard dash in the Pro Bowl event or something like this. I think it was the NFL's fastest man challenge at the Pro Bowl 2 years ago. Micah Parsons beat Tyreek Hill. So he was asked today, will there be a rematch in this upcoming Pro Bowl?
He said, I don't know. I don't plan on being in the Pro Bowl. Maybe Tyreek. I plan on spending my time here getting ready for something a little bigger.
I wonder what that little bit bigger means.
I would say it's a lot bigger. But yes, Micah, I like that mindset.
Yeah, Super Bowl, not no fucking Pro Bowl. Even if he makes it, that's great. But yeah, we know what it's about. Listen, the Cowboys defense, all right, have forced 8 fumbles this year. That's 5th most in the NFL. The Dolphins, the quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. He has fumbled the ball. He don't even run. He has 55 yards in the season rushing. He's fumbled the ball 12 times. 12 times by a quarterback. That is the most in the NFL. So last week we had the most interception guy in the NFL, Josh Allen. Now we have the most fumbling quarterback in the NFL in Tua. So again, Micah, this defense, we got to get pressure on Tua to really have an impact. Because if we do not, their offense will beat us, guys. I do believe they will. Now, listen, the key to victory for the Cowboys, we'll talk more about this tomorrow and Saturday, but you got to get to Tua. When he is pressured under 30% of the time, okay, in a game, when Tua is not pressured, at the 30% mark or more, he has a 9-1 record. He has 22 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, and he has a 109.1 passer rating. Fantastic numbers for Tua when he's not pressured over 30%. When he's pressured on 30% or more of his snaps, Tua is only 1-3. He's won 1 game, lost 3. He's thrown only 3 touchdowns. Of course, only 4 games, but he's thrown 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions with a 97.6 passer rating. Obviously, he drops on all the categories there. And in case you're wondering what the Cowboys' average pressure rate per game is this year, 44.9%. So we should be getting pressure on Tua over the course of this game over 30% of the time. That means trouble for Tua, for TT. So again, just a little more fillers from yesterday, what we might have missed when it comes to this defense versus their offense. The Cowboys also, we run a lot of single. What is it? Man coverage with a single high safety, right? I think we're the league leaders, at least when it comes to man coverage. Will we get out of that with the Dolphins? Last week it didn't work too well, mainly because when we got out of it, we didn't have Malik Hooker. But this time, if we do abandon that man coverage, how does Tua do against man? He has 14 passing touchdowns against man and only 1 interception. That is 5th best in the NFL. He has a 124.5 passer rating when he is against man coverage. That's fantastic. By the way, that's 3rd in the NFL. And the Cowboys, we play man the most in the NFL. 48.1% of the time of dropback. So if we're number 1 at playing man in the NFL as far as the number of times we do it. But Tua is 3rd best with the passer rating against man. He's also 5th best in the NFL with 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. The touchdown to interception ratio. He's 5th best. That's something that the Cowboys might have to think about, maybe doing a little more zone in this game with Dan Quinn. I'm just giving Dan Quinn some tips, right? Right, Mike? I'm trying to help you guys out here. And, Dan Quinn right now has a real chance to see what Mike McDaniel up close and what he can really do since he was an assistant with the Atlanta Falcons. Dan Quinn said, actually, let me put Dan Quinn up here. He deserves the front and center because he does have a lot of responsibility here, not just the players. It's obviously some adjustments and some issues that Dan Quinn might be having. But I also think it's something that the Cowboys the players have to overcome. Dan Quinn said this about Mike McDaniel, the head coach for the Dolphins, who again he was an assistant for Dan Quinn when he was there in Atlanta. Quote, he's got a big creative brain to use that, and they have a lot of speed on the field, so we'll have our hands full. It's kind of mirroring what Mike McCarthy said about the fact that McCarthy puts guys like Tyreek Hill in even makes him more dynamic with his play calling. A great player already. Not even making a player better, but he is making him better, but he's just using him, to the best of his ability. Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins, you know what he was, right? He was the former run game coordinator.
Okay.
For the Falcons under Kyle Shanahan's offense. So remember, Kyle Shanahan is now where? Do you remember where Shanahan is at?
No, I don't remember.
Well, the team that we have the biggest issue with, the San Francisco 49ers, he's their head coach. I don't know if you forgot that, but he's the head coach there, formerly of the Falcons under Dan Quinn. And then he went there to San Francisco. Who was his run game coordinator? It was Mike McDaniel, now the head coach of the Dolphins. So he's part of the Shanahan tree, McDaniel. I'm putting the puzzle together for you guys.
All right.
What else does he do very, very similarly as Mike Shanahan does, as Kyle Shanahan does, guys? Besides running the ball, well, we know he does that. You know what else he does a lot of? He runs a lot of motion. Shanahan loves using motion, and so does Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Dolphins. That's what he likes to do. A lot. I say a lot of motion. I'm not saying we have a game with a lot of motion. I'm saying they use a lot of motion every game. A lot of it. Just like the Niners do. So the Niners use a lot of motion, and that's a team we have to overcome sometime this year if we really want to get to where we want to get to, right? So, like San Francisco, there's a preview in my mind. Last week was a preview if we had bad weather. We had other problems. But this week is a kind of a preview. If we get the Niners, it's going to be a very similar kind of style going on here. Same flavor as some of what Kyle Shanahan does in San Francisco. The offense for the Dolphins, very efficient, effective, and they use a lot of motion. All right? So, yeah, if there's nothing else, these are incredibly valuable reps that the Cowboy defense will get against a similar team in the playoffs like the Niners. All right, that means trouble for us in this game, in my opinion. But it is at least a way of us kind of getting to know another game, another game to kind of get worked in there. How the Kyle Shanahan Niners will try to run us if we play them again in the playoffs, right? So yes, I think the Cowboys need these reps, and they're going to get them against the Dolphins. Now, a very important player, like I mentioned him a little earlier, on this Dan Quinn defense is really, to me, is one of the main reasons why we couldn't stop the run. It wasn't Dan Quinn necessarily. I mean, Dan Quinn has something to do with it. I agree, but it is the big man in the middle who got hurt there against the Eagle game, Jonathan Hankins, right there for you guys. Let me make him bigger because he actually is a big man for us on this field, and he's the guy who basically takes on double teams. He's the guy that basically allows the linebackers to have such high ratings right now when it comes to Marquise Bell, and Damone Clark. When guys like LVE, when he was there, when he was asked on Thursday, he was going to try to push hard to get into this game against the Dolphins, and maybe at least getting a game before the playoffs. Hankins seemed very confident he's going to get more than just one game before the playoffs. He said, quote, trying to get a few games in before the playoffs. I think we're just trying to be smart and play it safe and just understand what we got ahead of us. All right, we get it. The important thing is when they asked him, what's your realistic viewpoint of when we're going to see you again playing? And basically, he kind of implied that he said basically that the December 30th regular season game against those Detroit Lions, that regular season home finale is probably when he'll be back. He said this with that knee and ankle injury, quote, it's been good, the rehabbing, right? It's been good. Everything's been getting better. I'm not too worried or stressed about anything compared to last year's injury, which is great news. And then he said, quote, I think returning to the Detroit game next week is realistic. I'm from Detroit, so it would be nice to play against them. again, guys, expected to miss this Dolphin game. You never know, I guess, but he's going to probably miss this game. I expect him to be back for sure against the Detroit Lions next week, Christmas Eve. So, on Saturday. So, keep that in mind. Now, he also said a couple other things. I'll let you take over on that, baby.
He said, just keep doing the plan and see how it goes. See how they evaluate me to go finish out this week. All in all, it's been good. Every day has been getting better. I'm not too worried or stressed about anything compared to last year. It was tough to watch the game. That's definitely not our standard of play. And to see the run get that many yards, it was definitely hurtful. This week, we just have to take it back to the basics, understand how we play, and do the things we need to do. I think this week will be a different week and a different team out there compared to last week.
Yeah, I think you said a different team.
I know. I said it both.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, different defense hopefully out there is what we want to see as well when it comes to the way we played. You know, that Buffalo game was ugly. Now, let's not stop there. Went from defense. Now we're going to talk about the Dolphin defense, but we're going to talk about our offense first in this Texas Coast offense, and starting with the head of our offense when it comes to on the field action, where everything goes through outside of Tyler Biadasz, our quarterback, Dak Prescott. Now, of course, we know, we finally got to hear from Dak here, not just after the game, but after the Monday night game where Seattle upset the Eagles and helped the Cowboys out a little bit here. What did Dak Prescott say about that Seattle game when they beat the Eagles?
He said, thumbs up. I'm not wishing on anyone's downfall, but I appreciate that. That helps. It kind of evens things out again. Can't count on them to do that. That's not what we're keeping our fingers crossed for, hoping for. It's about us taking care of business and winning games. And hell, if we did that, that would only make that much better for us. We got to win ours and take care of ours first.
I like the attitude. Let's just show it on the field,
So as far as trying to keep up with the Miami offense, right, Dak Prescott said, quote, it's important understanding how explosive they are. All the speed that they've got on that side of the ball, it's important for us to make sure our offense is firing and we come out hot.
This is one of those things where this is a game I would agree that we need the offense to be able to score points in this game because they're going to get points up on that board, the Dolphins. They will find ways to get methodical, to get down. They're efficient. They will get points. So we have to match them. I know I usually don't compare offense and offense, but we have to match their offense when it comes to points. We got to make sure we don't just have 3 or 4 bad drives and 3 and outs. That would be murderous to our team and we'll be down too much. So Dak is right about that. This is a game, most of these games are well, I'm usually saying, defense got to kind of show out. This game I think is kind of an opposite way. I think the offense has to show us they can hang with the high-powered offense that, we have, but also that the Dolphins have. And both of us are playing tough defenses. We're playing a tough Dolphin defense. They're playing a tough Dallas defense. Anyways, now, Dak also spoke a lot more today, guys, on preparation for this game this week.
He said, we've done a great job coming in focus and understanding collectively. We didn't put our best foot out there. There's no excuse for that. And what a great opportunity to not necessarily redeem ourselves, but to pick up our shit up off the road.
Especially when we're on the road.
I have to admit, I appreciate that last sentence specifically because let's be real. That's, that is the opportunity to redeem yourself almost more than, the win or the loss. It's like, hey, can you actually do something How can you elevate yourself back to where you were and kind of make that game look throughout this season,
like an anomaly?
We have been able to do that. So,
no back-to-back losses under Mike McCarthy since 2021. I'm just throwing it out there. Hope I didn't jinx it.
I know. So I was about to say streaks were made to be broken, unfortunately.
Now, Dak again asked also like Micah Parsons, what's your deal with winning so well at home and just looking so bad on the road?
On that? He said, no, we haven't. I don't know if there's anything concrete, honestly.
Well, they asked if he figured it out. Yeah, so he said no.
A lot of different aspects that go hand in hand, that go together. Different things you could say, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. At the end of the day, the type of guy I am, conversations we have, they're all going to be excuses. We just got to come out with the energy and maintain it throughout the game. Regardless of the score, regardless if we're down, the belief, the emotional discipline, maturity, and competitiveness to not blink and enjoy when it's you against the world. So no.
So yeah, basically, they don't know. The Cowboys don't know what's going on. They just got to go out there, just play full four. I mean, this should be not this as hard to figure out, but I don't know. We better, because if we don't get that first or second or third seed, we don't have to worry. We're not getting nowhere. Fourth is nobody's getting the fourth except for the NFC South. But if we don't get the first, second, or third seed, we're going to be playing our entire playoffs on the road. There's like a 95% chance, because you can have an upset. Like if a 6th seed or 7th seed wins, then you might actually eventually somehow get a home game. But let's be real. You're not getting a home game. We got to figure this shit out, and they don't know. The Cowboys don't know what the answer is to this. Now, I do want to say something here. You remember that game that I widely criticized the Cowboys' Kellen Moore for getting figured out against Vic Fangio's, when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. That was a game we wore our stripe on our helmet, the red, white, and blue. That was a game, I think, before we went to Atlanta, maybe. The Atlanta game against the Cowboys in Dallas. We went to that game. But that week before that, this was the game that really destroyed Kellen Moore. He never adjusted. And he was figured out by at the time, lowly Denver Broncos.
It was all downhill from there.
Yeah, but it was Denver's Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, who's now he was with Denver, with the Broncos as the head coach in 2021. We lost 30-16 at home against them. It was a very blindsided loss, and he figured out Kellen Moore's offense. The key here is he's the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator. So, again, you got Mike McDaniel as the offensive mind, and on defense, you got like a Dan Quinn situation, right? You got a guy who figures out offenses, and this guy has shown blueprints of Kellen Moore. Hopefully, he won't figure out Mike McCarthy. But the point here is he is now a defensive coordinator in Miami. And back then, he said, quote, when he beat Dallas, as the head coach of the Broncos, he said, quote, teams just haven't played the Cowboys the right way. And from there on out, we had trouble with Kellen Moore as our offensive coordinator. Now he's a defensive coordinator at Miami. And Dak was asked about him being there in Miami, defensive coordinator there, but figured us out, going back to that blueprint beating under Kellen Moore in 2021 against the Broncos. What did he say?
He said, teams just haven't played Dallas
the right way. I think you're on the wrong thing there. It's at the bottom.
In 2021, maybe. I don't think that blueprint's going to hold up.
Yeah, so when you think about that, he's talking about Kellen Moore. He's talking about the fact that ain't holding up because that's not the way we're running the offense anymore. It's not a Kellen Moore non-adjusting offense. At least that's what Dak is implying, in my opinion.
I mean, I would sincerely hope so, right?
So, yeah, I mean, again, I think that he is really honestly, he knows the offense has changed. He knows, and not just that, Vic Fangio could figure this out, but the hope is that McCarthy will have a little bit better time at adjusting, maybe already preparing for adjustments. Now, don't forget, Dak Prescott also going through more stuff here, the preparation for the week, kind of talking about, a couple last things here, but he kept going today, guys. He spoke a lot.
He said, we'll see Sunday, but first and foremost, it's about our approach and our focus throughout the week. Understanding that we've got to turn that up a little bit. We got to do that thing going into the week to make sure everything we've done throughout the week carries over. This is a team that prepares the right way, attacks the day the right way, and it can't be any different when you go out on the road. I don't know if there's anything concrete, honestly. Different things, you could say. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that at the end of the day. The type of guy I am, the conversations we have, they're all going to be excuses.
Yeah, I think he said that one already.
I know. We just got to come out with the energy and maintain it throughout the game, regardless of the score, regardless of the down. This definitely sounds a little familiar there.
Some of it, yeah.
But he also added in there, what a great opportunity. A great team at the top of their division, one of the best teams in the AFC, to get a chance to go out there and not necessarily redeem ourselves, but pick our shit up off the road and put a performance out there like we have at home. Really more so a performance that we know we're capable of.
I really hope the Cowboys can back those words there. Now, he said one last thing, which was interesting. When asked about the NFL, the seasons, every year, they're getting longer, or are they kind of flying by at this point of his career? Now, 8 years in.
Yeah. He said flying by, yeah. Definitely as you get older, yeah, flying by. Time does. I'm a guy that truly doesn't believe 24 hours is enough for one day. Wanting to accomplish all the things I want to get done throughout the day and just being present where my feet are, yeah, you look up and you're in like, what week are we in? I don't know.
Flying by.
I know we got 3 games left or whatever. It flies by, and I think that's the importance of staying grounded and really just enjoying each day, each opportunity. Not taking a rep at practice, not taking a meeting, not hanging out with the guys in the locker room, sitting at lunch, not taking any of that for granted, especially when you look at the span of most people's careers. Blessed to be able to do this, obviously in my 8th year, but it's flown by. It's flown by, and I can't imagine how much faster it's going to get. Obviously, with personal life things changing, how much that may speed things up, but just thankful for everyone that I get and just trying to stay in the moment.
Yeah, hey. I mean, Dak's going to be a dad here very, very soon. So, again, we hear from Dak Prescott saying some stuff. Again, I think you could back most of this up. It's a team game, and he's going to be throwing the ball to a certain receiver named CeeDee Lamb wearing number 88.
That's right.
Who also was in the locker room today and spoke after practice.
So he said, I feel like just knowing who you are as a team, knowing your identity and staying true to it. As far as like some of the things that we can do to, turn things around out there on the road, right? I know some things happen along the road in the journey, but it's all about bouncing, recovering, and responding the right way. Finding an answer. The answer is going out there and winning on the road. That's the answer.
That is true.
To be who we are and what we want to accomplish, we have to start one play at a time, one quarter at a time, and one drive at a time. Taking care of our responsibilities, protecting one another, and being explosive. Obviously, this game has a lot of things riding on it. We understand that. We know that. For us, being the players and the ones that's going out and having to do that, we have to basically take a step backward and look and realize the position that we're in and everything that we wanted at the beginning of the season is still in front of us. This is definitely a playoff type game. We wouldn't rather, be in another position than this because we don't want walk-offs going into the playoffs and then go to the playoffs and get in and out. I feel like this is a test for us, and it's all about how we respond.
I love hearing it. Yeah.
That, they don't just want to beat, crappy teams and get into the playoffs just to make an appearance and then go home and sit on their couch the rest of the postseason, right? Like, they want to face the tough teams so they can prove to themselves that when they get to the playoffs, they can face any team because they've done it already.
Agree. 100%. And that's at least they're self-aware, right? That's a great thing to hear there.
Like I said, brotherhood, the togetherness, the awareness, that has not that's not the issue in Dallas right now.
Definitely not.
Execution, it is scheme, it is maybe a little bit of discipline, I'll give you that.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I saw a quick little, this is a side note, but I saw this, I didn't even talk to you about it, but I saw a little bit of Jonathan Hankins. He has like a vlog on somewhere, and he actually filmed himself going to that Eagle game.
Oh.
And it was just interesting to hear Gallimore, who was driving him there. And they were both talking about they've never really been on a team. And Hankins, being a veteran on other teams, he's never been on a team where you care so much for your other guys on the defense. So,
and that's why I told you, that type of shit, you can try to fake it for a little while, but you can't fake the funk when it comes to that. And you can tell that this team really has each other's backs. Yeah,
it was really genuine to see the camaraderie between Gallimore and Hankins, and the way they spoke about the team. One guy drafted from Dallas, only been Dallas and Gallimore. Another guy who came from other places. And he says, I've been in other great organizations, but nothing like, he admitted this, like nothing like this. And you could see it was like the filming was in the back seat and he was in the front seat. And they were just, he was talking with Gallimore and they were just like talking. But he was like, I've never been as hyped for like a game in the rivalry. I don't understand it until you hear against the Eagles. And it's like, I feel it because as a fan, he almost becomes a fan when you play for the Cowboys.
Exactly. I mean, it is a little bit different when you're just hearing it. And then when you experience it firsthand, especially as a Cowboy fan or Cowboy adjacent fan, depending on, what players are feeling, right? Like, hey, we're talking a whole different ball game there. Anyway.
Agree. So, being aware, CeeDee Lamb very aware about our opponent this week. I see Skeptical talk about, it's a tough game, guys. It's going to be hard to beat this team. This is no pushover team, and that's why I keep pushing. It doesn't matter if we go 3-0 to end the season or 2-1, as long as we beat Washington, one of those wins. If we win 2 and lose 1, the same thing has to happen for the Eagles. So this is almost like a good prep game. If we beat them, great. But I'm just saying, I'm not, and I'm going to get mad if we lose. But I'm just saying, like, this is a great prep game for a team like the Niners. Anyways, CeeDee Lamb being very aware, he got a very good secondary, one of the best in my opinion. They were rated the best secondary in the NFL before multiple injuries, which most of these guys are probably coming back from. So we're going to be facing this defense, maybe not at their best, but all their starters in there, maybe still kind of, maybe not 100%, but still there, and they're going to be good. So he talked about the defense, like Ramsey and company, Mr. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. So he said, we have speed. So, what?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we have to start.
A lot of playmakers, a lot of speed. We have speed. They have track runners. Very excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's talking about their offense. And yeah, I'm sorry. That was like an offensive kind of thing about the fact that we both have, a lot of playmakers on both these teams.
Jalen has been doing it for a while. He's had plenty of success. Coming in, it should be very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. We should get a lot of reps together.
Yeah, that is the Jalen Ramsey.
Micah knows who's going to be covering him. It's
Micah.
No secret. Micah, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's going to be covered by Jalen Ramsey. Actually, I got a little bit more on that because he may have to travel with him in the slot. And again, we talked about a little bit of that yesterday. We'll see how that develops into this game. CeeDee Lamb, guys, right now, what is the main reason, he said, for the fast start, or to start fast? Let me just put it that way. To have a good fast start when we're on the road playing on fucking away games.
He said completions, staying above the sticks, and continuing to move the ball. That's the best way. Play fast, stay out there on the field, not being necessarily limited and being explosive. That's how you start fast. That limited comment's interesting. Sounds like maybe McCarthy's still putting a few Cowboy players in a box.
Put them in a box.
I'm just saying.
That's not bad.
Get my point.
Not a bad point because there is a very good possibility that maybe we're still conservative in some of these opening drives. That could be, I don't know. Could that be it? I don't know. I hope it could be figured out. I will say this. CeeDee Lamb in the slot this year, listen to these. That's why I think you got to attack the Dolphin nickel cornerback, even if it's Jalen Ramsey at times. CeeDee Lamb in the slot. He has 52 catches. That's third in the NFL. He has 702 yards from the slot. That's number one in the NFL, and it's pretty much number one the last 3 years. He also has 6 receiving touchdowns from the slot. That's number one in the NFL. So, for me, it's about, you're going to see me talk about this tomorrow or the next day, but a key in this game is putting CeeDee Lamb against the Dolphins and get him in the slot. Miami defense, listen to this, against targets thrown into the nickel cornerback, or at least to the slot receiver. How about that? Because there's zone coverages and different coverages. You get matched up against different guys. But the Dolphins defense against slot targets, 5.9 yards per attempt. That means almost 6 yards per target in the slot. That's 32nd in the NFL. The Dolphin defense do not do well covering a guy kind of in between other receivers there. So Dak Prescott, when he's targeting the slot, 14 touchdowns for Dak. And a 121.5 passer rating. By the way, the 14 touchdowns and 121 in the slot for Dak Prescott throwing, that's number one in the NFL. In the NFL. Also, 8.9 yards per pass attempt attacking the slot, the nickel spot there. That's third best in the NFL. I mean, we're getting almost 9 yards. When the Dolphin defense, they're allowing 6 yards on average. That's the worst in the league. So that's a key point to attack. Not just CeeDee Lamb, but also the slot receiver, whoever that may be. They have issues there. The Dolphins. They have some breakage there. Now, Tony Pollard. Let's move on to him. We got quarterback. We got receiver. Fuck it. Let's do the trifecta. Let's do running back. Tony Pollard, who did speak today, a little commentary about his injury and how he's kind of feeling, how he's feeling now after being so far removed from it, not just at the beginning of the year, being able to get in and play, but how does he feel now? Is it different? Does he feel better, more comfortable, confident? What did Tony Pollard say?
I would say it's a night and day difference. You think you're good. You think you're all the way back until you're actually out there making big plays, full speed, feeling it. Once you get a feel for it and get your feet under you, then you start to realize, oh, so I may have lost a little right there. But I'm picking it back up. So he feels like he really did move pretty far past that injury. right? Adding in there halfway through the season, a little bit after the bye week, something like that, I started to feel like I was starting to get into the groove of things. So maybe that was also partially a reason for our slower start, not just offensively, but in general in the run game, right? Like, it sounds like Pollard was not at 100%. He was at more like 90, 95%. And that last few bits and bobs there, clearly, had more weight than you can imagine. Right, Skeptical fan?
Woo!
Coming through, by the way.
The J-Lou 2.
The man himself with a $2 super chat. Go Cowboys.
Hell yeah, much love, Skeptical. Appreciate him. And by the way, he is literally like, I don't know, a couple away, 3 or 4 away from passing the Big D on the overall board for second place. He's in third right now, Skeptical. Hanging. He's right there trying to pass up a Big D hanging on to second right now by a hair. And Zach Luna hanging on with that Rico Dottle, or as I like to say, Jordan, with that 23 points on the stream, boss. Appreciate everybody hitting that like, hitting subscribe, hitting that notification bell, following us on Twitter or X or wherever, social media, all at MyCowboysFamily. And, of course, Discord as well. Jump in there. But appreciate everybody in the house. Sponsor of the week. And also the membership gifting king. 10 last week. He's got 7 already this week. Skeptical fan. Woo. He just made his appearance. A thumbs up as well. Yes, sir. Thank you. And you got Mr. Stanley Smith repping that Cash App crown. Yeah, not 1, but 2 weeks in a row like our 90s Cowboys. And appreciate him. I don't think he's on the board this week yet. If he is, he's in the running there. But the leader, got a couple people on this board this week for the Cash App side. Jason Renfro is the leader currently right now by just a few over Big D and others. On the, Smokey, many others on here. Gloria, thank you all, by the way, for those drops of the Cash App. Jason Renfro, though, on top of all of that, on that side of things. And then look at the overall board there. It's Zach Luna, 23 points, but he's also first place on the overall stream boss, which, of course, determines who's the sponsor of the week. We'll see what happens. Zach Luna trying to take that down. So, you were talking about Tony Pollard.
Yeah, we read his comment.
Yeah, exactly. No, we talked about him, but again, I agree with you 100%. I think that, you think you're back when you're a player and you're ready, as long as you're on the field, as a fan, you're watching, right? And you're thinking, okay, Pollard's good to go, right? Like, what's his issue?
But even he didn't realize, like, damn, like, I actually am not quite as 100%. And like I kind of said there, that last 5% can make a huge difference. Just because he's 95%, he's out there and he's ready to go, doesn't mean that he wasn't feeling the impact of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe he had to, push through more, regular things just to get there, as far as like regular bumps and bruises or other stuff.
Yeah, other things that might even slow him down by a hair. But here's the key.
Have a great night, Skeptical fan. Appreciate you. Much love.
Good night, brother. Appreciate you. But stay for this last little tidbit. Tony Pollard, just to back up what Tony Pollard just said, from weeks 1 through 9, he averaged 4 yards per carry. Not too good. Only was averaging 2.62 yards, 2.6 yards after contact. He had 8 total missed tackles forced. So only made 8 guys miss in tackling there as a running back. He had only 8 carries of 10 or more yards. And his PFF rushing grade, you want to throw that in the mix, 65.1. Horrible numbers there. But then when you look at the not because of the scheme, this is about his injury and getting more comfortable, settled with it. Weeks 10 through 15, he's now upped it to 4.3 yards per carry. He's upped it from 6.2 to 3.21 yards after contact. That's almost a whole yard more. 22 missed tackles in much less games than the 8 he had there in the first 9. And again, 10 carries this time instead of 8 in a much shorter span of 10-yard or more runs. And his PFF rushing grade in that span, 85.2. Again, over 20 points higher on that. And it's not like a point that's an easy point to just jump. It's actually percentage points and all these other factors. So it takes a lot to move that needle. And he's done that there. So again, another little key point, not just his injury status, but let me just throw this in there as well. The Cowboys switching. And you see this from Schottenheimer and Mike Soliari, offensive line coach. The Cowboys switched to more zone blocking after going gap heavy the first few weeks of the season. That has helped at least be a little bit more efficient running the ball. So the zone blocking has given the running backs a little more options here than just the gap hits and going through there. So again, that's the way we break down our offense. That's the way of really getting a good deep look at this. But when you look at the Dolphins in that defense, you got to look at some interesting numbers here, guys. And we talked about, again, now I went all Cowboy heavy here, but let's go heavier here on what we got to do here at getting some points, moving the ball, getting some yards against this very difficult, very tough, very sturdy Dolphin defense. Since week 4, the Dolphins are at the top of most major categories on defense in the NFL. Number 1 in scoring defense. Number 1 in total defense. Number 1 in sacks. That's since week 4 now, not the whole season. I think they're number 2 or 3 in sacks now. They're also, since week 4, they're number 1 in yards per play, against the defense, which, they're not allowing that many yards per play. They're number 3 in rush defense, number 4 in third down defense, and number 6 in passing defense. We talked about him earlier. I'm going to talk about him now again real quick. But that's the Vic Fangio effect as a defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. So they are definitely they are definitely a very consistent scheme, based defense that is very effective with Vic Fangio. A guy I liked a lot when, he was an available coach, when he was an available defensive coordinator, up there with like a Dan Quinn kind of battling. So that's why they're even better than they have been, more consistent than they have been in recent years with a lot of similar players. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Ramsey. We're going to talk about them very soon here. But the Dolphins defense, when you look at the EPA and that analytic, they rank number 1 in the NFL with EPA allowed per play ever since they got number 5 back on that field, since Jalen Ramsey came back week 8. And the only little catch about that is Kansas City, since week 8, Kansas City Chiefs, really the only good offense they faced. They play that game with us. Let's talk about it the other way, right? The Dolphins have had some fairly easier offenses, like other than the Chiefs. They had the Patriots in this span, the Vegas Raiders, the Jets, the Commanders, the Tennessee Titans, the Jets again. You guys understand what I'm saying here? You play them a lot. Their offenses are shitty. So those numbers are sometimes like our numbers. We play a bad offense, are a little bit inflated there for the Dolphins. Keep that in mind. Now, going back to the very important matchup of Jalen Ramsey there versus, our again, right now, third highest receiving yardage guy in the NFL, CeeDee Lamb. That's going to be a matchup right there that everyone's going to keep their eyes on. CeeDee Lamb versus Jalen Ramsey, when you look at this matchup, we're going to break this down a little bit more tomorrow about the pros and cons there. But can't wait to see them compete against each other. I remember hearing Vic Fangio himself. He said on his interview today that he concedes it's going to be a great matchup between Ramsey and CeeDee. And he said, this is a game. This is a matchup, quote, to watch on your couch with some popcorn. So I can't wait to see what happens when number 88 goes against number 5. And the Cowboys have to use and still attack, through CeeDee Lamb and through whoever's in the slot, in my opinion there. It lines up in the slot for the Cowboys as a place to attack there. So Jalen Ramsey, who he did shadow Garrett Wilson most of the game because Xavier Howard was out for last week's game against the Jets. Vic Fangio, made that point today. So now, is it going to be something where he's going to shadow CeeDee Lamb now that they're going to get Xavier Howard back? That's a question we got to wait to see, I guess. But if Ramsey has to get in the slot and go all over the left and right side of the field and follow CeeDee Lamb, that's the matchup I think that Vic Fangio is also watching. Now, breaking things down, guys, our offense versus their defense. The key for the Dolphins' defensive success has been the defensive line play. And you got to remember, Emmanuel Ogbah and Jalen Phillips, they're going to probably, we know Jalen Phillips is out for this game. He's out for the year with the Achilles tear rupture. But Emmanuel Ogbah is probably going to miss this game. That's the expectation. Both players also ranked 3rd and 4th in sacks on the team. We talked about it. They're both also in the top 50 in sacks as well, so in the NFL. But when you look at this, Bradley Chubb is the guy that leads the team in sacks with 9.5 guys, and he's, again, you can say he's the only guy you got to watch for. No. They got a really good defense, a defensive front, and that's where it starts and ends with them a little bit. Everyone gets the help from that defensive front like we kind of do for our own defense. So Bradley Chubb is the one to watch for, and he's very effective. But I will admit, too, though, when you look at it inside his numbers, guys, he went on a 7-week stretch, only had 2 sacks. Was not very consistent during those 7 weeks. 3 of his 12 sacks this year, 3 of them, 3 of his 12 sacks came in one game. Last week against the Jets, by the way, in case you were wondering. So, again, not some of that's just kind of the team you're playing, right? Bradley Chubb. So, he's a guy, though, still very effective, can disrupt things, strips the ball. He can cause fumbles, the most fumbles recovered in the NFL, I think. So, important guy there, number 2 to watch. Also, Christian Wilkins, number 94, I think, defensive tackle. He's second on the Dolphins in sacks and also second in pressures. Amongst all defensive tackles, his 9 sacks, third most in the NFL among that position, which is dominant. Much like, again, the Dolphins' offensive line, which is heavily injured inside. Their defensive line, a little bit in that same situation. But right now, they have shown up all year. And really, to me, they've held up against the run all year, even with some of these guys being in and out of their roster with injuries. Now, looking at the linebackers, which is really their biggest weakness. And that's why I say somehow you got to find a way to find guys like number 87, Jake Ferguson, which may be a key here for the Cowboys. We'll talk about that tomorrow or Saturday. But Ferguson against these linebackers, that's what I'm hoping the Cowboys can kind of look. I talked about always, who we got to watch on the other side. Last week it was James Cook. When you look at our defense versus their offense, this week I'm telling you, Mostert is the guy to watch here. Of course, always Tyreek Hill, but Mostert, he's dangerous, I think, for this Cowboy defense. So when I flip it over to who we use, where do we attack? Because they're gonna be in there stopping the run. They're gonna be out there, trying to be in great coverage in their secondary. They got some great guys coming back. The linebackers is their weakness. So look, one of their main guys, and he just got injured a couple weeks ago at linebacker, Jerome Baker. He was their starter, their main guy. He's on IR. He's out. So his replacement is Duke Riley. If you watch that Hard Knocks on HBO, you'll see him taking over, guys. Again, not consistent like Jerome Baker was. He's basically, finishing tackle-wise. Sometimes he'll lock it down and take you down. Sometimes he'll just fall off. So something to watch there. Duke Riley, attack him. David Long, the other linebacker, fantastic run defender. So, again, this is a tough team to run against, whether it's a defensive tackles, defensive line, or even linebackers, specifically David Long. But no Jerome Baker, Duke Riley, he's their weak spot if you get into that second level. And, again, of all the linebackers between both teams, between the Cowboys and the Dolphins, David Long for the Dolphins is probably their best run stopper. He's kind of like LV when Hankins is in there. You know what I mean? Marquise Bell and Damone Clark when Hankins is in there. So, again, the worst part about David Long's gameplay, and this is where we attack, is pass coverage. That's where he's really deficient. Great run stopper, David Long, horrible pass coverage guy. And that's the key, my friends, to Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson attacking right there is something hopefully McCarthy, Dak, and this offense have planned for in this game. And again, this is nothing you need to have to block for 10 minutes. This is something that's, tight ends are usually quicker throws, or if you let things develop, all right, they're 2 and a half seconds at most. Dak knows where he's going. He sees the thing opening up for Ferguson in those situations. So that's very important that we can maybe attack with number 87 this week. When you look at all these linebackers on our team and their team, the starters, Damone Clark has more tackles. Number 33 on our team on defense. He has more tackles and fewer missed tackles than their best run stopper, David Long. So right there you see, he's their best run stopper, but Damone Clark is better. He's missed less tackles and had more tackles. Has made more tackles than David Long. Marquise Bell, for example, number 14 in coverage. Which Duke Riley is, I guess that's his default best asset. Outproducing him in on that side of things, whether it is tackles, whether it is coverage, whether it is causing turnovers. He's obviously outproducing Duke Riley, who's just come in for the last couple of weeks since Jerome Baker has went down. So linebackers have a lot of weaknesses for the Dolphins. Let's focus on attacking them. You're seeing me with Bradley Chubb here on the left. You're seeing me with Jalen Ramsey on the right, but there's no linebackers in sight. That's the reason why. And we can get to the second level. If Zack Martin and Tyron Smith can, are in there playing, we can definitely try to run and maybe get a couple breaks there into the second level and then break some tackles there with those linebackers there. And hey, we can establish a little more efficient offense against these Dolphins, because linebacker is their liability. I will say the secondary was not doing too well, but now they're getting guys back. We're looking at it in the reels here. We're not looking at it in a fake atmosphere. The Dolphins' safeties have been playing extremely well this year, but again, they missed Javon Holland last game, and he is trending to play though. He's been out for 3 weeks with a knee injury, but he's back at practice. He's trending to play. So, he's a guy, if he's back out there, very dangerous, improves the secondary immediately. Javon Holland, he is rated and graded as the best, I think, defensive coverage player in the NFL. Either at safety only or entire NFL and defense. Javon Holland is fantastic out there. He might not play. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to assume he plays. I have a feeling they were waiting for these guys for this game. This is their Super Bowl, guys. Remember, this is what Micah Parsons doesn't understand yet, that you got to take all these games personal. You got to take all these games personal. Because if you don't, the Cardinals are going to beat you. Simple as that. So, again, Javon Holland, if he does not play, though, again, that's a huge opening there to attack as well in their secondary. They rely really a lot, guys, on Javon Holland's skills in coverage and his run support on running plays, of course. Another guy who is also trending to come back, Deshaun Elliott, who was in concussion protocol, but today back. He's ready to go, guys. Again, these are their starting safeties. If both of these guys are out there, this is, again, a much improved defensive secondary. If you also look, and if they have to be replaced by guys like the backup safeties Brandon Jones and Elijah Campbell, and that's a combination of 35 total tackles this year. That's an issue if we get into the third level in any way, or them trying to make the tackle on a receiver. They will fall and slip right off. So that's going to be important for the Cowboys to see if we can attack the safety position, the deeper areas, if these guys, the backups, are in there. If the starters are in there, which I'm going to bank they are going to be in there. Javon Holland's going to probably come back this week. Will he be 100%? Probably not. Deshaun Elliott's going to be back out there in the back on the safety position. Does that mean he's 100%? Probably not. But it means they're really close to it, and they're better than their backups, a lot better. So, again, I think that's where they've improved right now, just off of getting these guys back. Also, at cornerback, we know about Jalen Ramsey, the great Jalen Ramsey. Talked a lot about him already. But what about the other issues they were having at cornerback? Xavier Howard, fantastic player. Again, why was there cornerbacks? Why were their secondaries ranked number 1 in the NFL? These names are the reasons why. But Jalen Ramsey on one side, Xavier Howard on the other. Although, like I said, he has that hip injury. Trending to play, in my opinion. Again, waiting for this game is what my opinion is on why they are kind of rolling him back, letting him all these guys skip that Jets game because they were waiting for this game last week. So, again, if for some reason Xavier Howard doesn't play, Eli Apple takes over, which he knows us, we know them, we know him at least. And, he played with the Giants. We remember Eli Apple disaster he is. So, again, we can attack that as another opening there. Yeah, so if no Javon Holland, that's a real good boost for our offense and our pass offense down the field. Deshaun Elliott at the other safety spot. If he's not out there, oh, great. We can really tear them apart. But I want to see this team at their best. I want to be challenged in this game. So we're going to get both these guys, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to this matchup. Xavier Howard back out there also really upgrades. Obviously a huge upgrade for over Eli Apple, right? And over anybody. Really, he's one of the top guys. Will he be 100%? I don't know. Probably not. But he's going to be better than Eli Apple. So Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, those are the corners on the outside there, guys. Those are, to me, the real the real things to watch here in this Miami defense, and they're all trending to kind of get back there and be good to go. So again, he had some struggles, Eli Apple, in the NFL, but I will say I will give him this. He has a passer rating allowed against him, which he might have to play some slot in there. He might have to go in there and play a little bit, Eli Apple, if they have to have Jalen Ramsey go inside and cover CeeDee Lamb. Eli Apple's going to be forced out on the outside as a cornerback, so he will be out there no matter what. And he's allowing a passer rating of 92.5, which is, by the way, one of the highest targeted, cornerbacks when it comes to allowing quarterback QBR rating, passer rating, the highest one on the team. So if you want to attack, who's the guy with the highest passer rating allowed on the team? Eli Apple. In the slot, against Brandon Cooks, against Michael Gallup, against Tolbert, whoever. That's a key to victory. You got Ferguson, you got the slot position. You guys feeling the puzzle I'm putting together here for the next couple of days before we ramp it up to game day? Appreciate everybody here with me tonight. Also, I will say one last thing, finishing this up. This is it here. The special teams, we'll go through that real quick. But there's question marks on this Miami secondary because of the injury situation. But when they're all on that field, and it looks like I believe they will be, they've played very well on the back end there. So if all the pieces are not there, or some of these pieces are not there, the Cowboys will have a lot of space to attack, and it should be a lot easier for our offense to score points against this Miami Dolphin defense. With the linebackers just naturally are not that good, if they have a broken secondary, we should have our way, getting passes down the field. But, as I said, I believe they'll all be there. I'm really curious to know how we're going to be able to respond against a pretty decent front line there that gets sacks, but also a very good secondary that maybe is coming off injury, half of them, but they've been ready and primed for this game. So that's going to be great even matchups here, I believe, by both teams. And I talked about the offense of the Dolphins yesterday against our Big D. I already put out my thoughts on that yesterday, but I think we're very evenly, this almost look mirrored to each other when it comes to our offense and their offense and our defense and their defense. So very, very interesting, very important matchups there. Now, to finish things up, I got to throw up here Mr. John Fossil, Bones, because he is running our special teams. We got Brandon Aubrey in the mix. All right, I mean, we got some guys to talk about here when it comes to special teams and who are we playing, right? So at kicker, of course, Brandon Aubrey. Listen, even Mother Nature couldn't fuck with Brandon Aubrey last week. He made a field goal, made an extra point last week. He's the only kicker this year that currently has a perfect field goal percentage, field goal kicking record right now. Jason Sanders had a lot of struggles this year. That is the kicker of the Miami Dolphins, their field goal kicker. He's had a lot of struggles, Sanders. And he's at 81% field goal kicking rate right now. He only makes 81% of his field goals. Not very good. That's 24th amongst all kickers in the NFL. He's made 105 PATs, points after touchdowns. But Aubrey's got 133, in case you were wondering. I mean, pretty much leading everybody on that side, even with his 3 misses for Aubrey. Now, punting-wise, Brian Anger, 3rd in the NFL in average yards per punt. So, again, dominating as always, Brian Anger. As for the Dolphins, they have Jake Bailey. Currently ranks 31st in average punt yards, 44 yards per punt. That's it. So, we should be having some good field position. Maybe, I don't know if we even have returns. With 44-yard punt averages, that's a lot of fair catches for us there. So, interesting little side note, by the way. Punter Jake Bailey literally just got engaged to his fiance. Just got engaged to his fiance, his girlfriend, but now fiance Bailey Nicole. So congrats to them. Why do I say that though? Jake Bailey is marrying Bailey Nicole. Her name's going to be Bailey Bailey. Huh, interesting. I don't know. Just fuck with me. I thought I'd bring that up. Finally, kickoff returns, punt returns, the return game. Kevontae Turpin. He ranks 3rd in average kickoff yards right now in the NFL, but he's only averaging at about 6.6 yards per punt returns. So kickoff returns, third right now. But punt returns, bottom of the rankings when it comes to punts. I think it's mainly due to not having the opportunities as much. A lot of fair catches, a lot of balls bouncing. You got to let the balls bounce sometimes. Whatever it is, Sam Williams got to do better when it comes to blocking punts. How about that? But anyways, Turpin, I think he can break one at any moment. You just never know. And maybe it's this week in Miami. Now, speaking of Miami, who do they use? Slot receiver Braxton Berrios. Sneaky, tricky little guy. He's used on kick returns and punts. And right now he ranks 14th in an average punt return yards, and he's 13th in average kickoff return yards. So basically he's kind of a little above average when it comes to returns. He's sneaky, though. He can hurt us. So you got to have your best guys out there, Mr. Bones. Don't make a mistake and fuck up with, again, make sure if you can't use a disciplined guy, maybe you shouldn't try for the block. I don't know what to say on that play, on that specific switch up from last week by the Cowboys there, and using Sam Williams, not telling McCarthy that they were going to switch it up. Yeah, it didn't work out too well, and it cost us. I'm not saying a lot of things cost us this game, but that cost us another chance to get back into the game. Gave the game away, Anyways, by the way, guys, yes, the wife had to get out. I know I kind of just told her to, give her the thumbs up because I was going to be a while here breaking some of this stuff down. Now we're at the end of this here, and the wife has a very early day tomorrow, finishing up the week, and we have family coming into town. She has her sister coming into town, so, it's going to be even crazier here on our side, but we're going to try to go live every night and give you all the keys to victory the next Fan Friday here tomorrow, and that Saturday kind of pregame, preview here of our matchup against the Dolphins. So we're going to try to get them in. It might have to be quicker. There might have to be shorter streams, but we'll try to rock with you here and give you your voice. As the wife was in the chat for most of this stream, I appreciate you guys here keeping it rolling, though, in the chat, dropping your knowledge. I'm going to go through some of those right now. So, on that note, real quick, we got the lunatic saying to Seabass, let me see here, man. He's not going to be able to get on the show. Oh, shit, man. What happened? Damn, you got hit in the head with a left kick? Lost hearing. Holy fuck. Damn, Seabass, I am feeling horrible for you right now, brother. Man, you got to get yourself checked out. I just don't know. Man, you were sparring, got hit in the head with a kick. Man, that sucks. I'm assuming you were wearing a, protection there on the head, right? A little padded helmet. Damn, bro. That really sucks, bro. We'll be here whenever you are able to. Let us know. We will get you right on here and try to get you, your word on here, your thoughts on our Cowboys. And again, if it takes longer than a month, don't worry, bro. Just we got you. Just know that. So however long it takes, we're here with you, bro. The lunatic here, again, offering his hopes there for him. Head brace, yep. He wore a head brace against his own wishes. Yeah, shit. Damn. That really sucks. Man, I just get better, brother. And just let us know. Keep us updated. I hope you're keeping these chats here and let us know what's going on. The lunatic said, our offense cannot have another clunker versus the Finns. I agree. But this is a really the Bills have a good defense. Dolphins have a better defense when they have all their starters in there. And I think they do. Their secondary specifically. So they're going to be ready to roll here. The lunatic dropping those wonderful hate emojis, right? Or whatever you want to call them, but anti-Dolphin emojis. We always drop them here on the big screen, you can say. Most of the time, you'll see them like the mermaid. Here, boom. The Miami Mermaids. Or the big fat whales. The Miami whales. The dead dolphins. It's always a fun one. But, we'll do that first, and then we'll chop them up, eat them up like sushi. You know what I mean? We'll do the like sushi. Yes. Yum, yum. In the Tums. Anyways, let me get some more comments in here. Lost in Translation podcast. We get in field goal range. Points are automatic. Knock on wood, that continues, right? Tight end will get us what we need, said Lost in Translation. I agree with Ferguson. Being that guy, we focal point at the tight end spot to attack their linebackers. Alanda in the house. Hanslu saying good night to Cassie. She's going to have her precious white Miami Dolphins miniskirt ready for the game day. She said, go Cowboys. Lost in Translation said, we should run the ball 60% of the time. We outweigh the Dolphins up front. That is a good point. I think that, I don't think we're going to run like that, but I think we're going to run more than we're used to seeing us run. Lost in Translation said, Gallup is going to eat deep. Depends. If those safeties are there, I don't know if Gallup's shown us enough yet. He can get separation. Good night, Skeptical. I think the wife said that. Going back here, no commentary. Cowboys, yes, let's go Cowboys. Skeptical fan saying Malik, Hooker, and Martin Good. I think that those guys are more probable than Tyron Smith at this moment. I think all three can make it, though. And those are the three guys we got to worry about when it comes to injuries. Hold up. Much love to our girl here, Alanda Hanslu. With that $10 holler. Taking Zack Luna, by the way. 2 Michael Gallup numbers. 13 points on the stream, boss. Let me say it like this. This always scares me. Again, I want to read your comment, Alanda. Don't worry. But I want to make a mention about this, and it's funny. I think it's a funny story. Or a funny thought process. I'm not really superstitious, but I get a little more superstitious when I see, people here, MCF family, whoever they may be. This happens to be Alanda, who is on the Dolphins side this week. When I see them dropping the love and I see the board, that 13 points by Zack Luna, that's Dan Marino, right? Of course, we know what that number is. But I'm just saying, that's a Dan Marino number back there. I just get a little nervous when I see a Dolphin fan hovering around that. Yeah. We're going to play them. Alanda Hanslu cannot be on that fucking stream, boss. Let me just leave it at that, all right? Let me read what Alanda had to say. Much love to you. Appreciate you. She said, bad news for Cowboy fans. I got my precious white Dolphins miniskirt ready for game day. But my husband said that if Dallas wins, he's going to take my Dolphins miniskirt and rip that shit up. I think everybody in this chat is hoping for that. Every single man, woman, and child is hoping for that. Thank you, Alanda. I appreciate you. Oh, shit. We got Mr. Smokey, DJ Tacatonic? TCB? I call him Smokey. JR, whoever. Appreciate you, bro. In the house. My New York brethren. Let me see. I'm doing shout-out slash comments here. Let's see. We got Seabass in the house saying, yeah. In the chat, I'm loving it, man. Yeah, you keep doing it. Take care of business, brother. And as I finish up some of the shout-outs here, Javel de Pustas. I like that. Also saying goodnight to Cassie Stewart, who was in the house here a little earlier. Tommy Montoya said Hankins has a channel. I saw it, yeah. Tommy, he does have one, and he it's kind of interesting to see the camaraderie you can see there through him and someone like Gallimore, like I saw in his last one there. Skeptical, I agree with you. He's staying skeptical, saying he feels Miami's going to be harder to beat. And I agree. They're a tough team with their guys ready to go. She's Cassie Stewart saying earlier, I'm exhausted, going to bed now. Have a great night, everyone. Sweet dreams. And go Cowboys. You know it. Appreciate you. Yeah, skeptical, I agree. Should be ready by that Detroit game. That means he gets 2 games under his belt before the playoffs begin. Mike Aldana said, as a DB, do you play off Tyreek with safety help or jam him at the line of scrimmage? That's a great comment there. I'm gonna say. Let me do this. By the way, Skeptical said they use motion more than any team. They like using double motion. Exactly. So again, Skeptical said every former Cowboys player thinks Miami's going to kill us. Mosh in the house. Yes, appreciate him. But let me go back to Mike Aldana's comment here, which is great. I'm gonna kind of end it with this. Man, you figure you want to leave Tyreek Hill. You don't want to leave him alone, right? So you kind of want to jam him. He's smaller. He's strong. Still going to get him out of his route, but he has speed to make that up. I think, personally, you have to play a little more zone. And when I say zone, I mean it's not as much about for Tyreek Hill. So you can go up there and bump him a little bit, play a little closer. You got to give him help, though. But I think a zone hurts Tua more than it affects Tyreek Hill, whether you run man or not. So, running a little more zone for the Cowboys, which is a 48% man-heavy defensive coverage team, that might have to drop a little bit to 40 or 37% or something like that when we go to man this week. So, and I know it's not just man, it's not jam. You don't have to jam them up, but Jamming him up without any other help, that's really risky with that speed he has. So that'd be very scary to me. Mike Aldana said here, talked about the live stream of Micah moving the linebacker. He said Micah's better at getting quarterback pressures and creates opportunities for everyone else. Boom. Home run comment right there. Cowboy Nation, Danny in the house. New Bill Belichick. Yeah, we talked about that. He's not. Again, I want to make sure that nobody thinks that that's actually happening. It's just a kind of a mild rumor. Mike Florio, I mean, he's rumor man. But the point is, I wouldn't doubt that if we fire McCarthy because McCarthy fucked up, then I think that you can look at a Bill Belichick as a viable option. That's my point. That's my things. Choice Roberts in the house. Yes, Merry Christmas, Choice. Appreciate you dropping those emojis. Cassie Stewart said Tua will throw quick passes to neutralize our pass rush. That's why you got to have some kind of like a disguising zone. Some kind of zone that really is good for disguising what you're going to do. Sometimes you'll play a little underman. You can put a little more, jam these receivers up at the line for a moment and have some drop in the zone. But we'll see what happens. Tua will try to use those quick passes. He is not going to run the ball, Tua. Tua is not a scrambling, like for running yards quarterback. Andy Post in the house. What is up, brother? The Lunatic. Much appreciation. Congrats again to Ricardo Green II. He's it's A-Chan is his name. Yes, not A-Chain. A-Chan. Yes, you're right. I gotta get used. I used to say it right, then I got off of that. Yes, A-Chan is their other running back who is banged up though, but trending to play. He's their James Cook times guy. He's the guy that can catch the ball and run. Yeah, I'm hearing you, Ricardo. Thank you for the A-Chan there. We got Dallas Cowboys 92 Shark hat or the Blue Lightning strike hat. He's telling the Lunatic. Yeah, I remember the Shark, right? That was Kenny Gant, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, we got Alonda Hanslu again with the $5 holler here, saying my white Dolphins miniskirt is a gift from my homegirl, who used to be a cheerleader professionally for the team. Damn. Well, I kind of don't want you to have your husband rip that skirt, since it does have actual real meaning there. That would suck. But what happens if? I mean, again, we're not going to lose. But what if we lose? What's his punishment? That's my question there, Alanda. But more impressive is the fact that you're willing to risk that skirt that you're going to wear, that he's going to have to rip off when we beat your ass. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, Alanda. By the way, Zach Luna down to Aikman 8 points. 8 points away. Do not let Alanda get that. Don't let her get that, guys. Somebody, don't let her get the stream boss. That cannot be being run by a Dolphin during fucking Dolphin week. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, much love, David Walker in the house, saying Wanye Thomas, he needs to do a little better, Wanye, but I suspect that where he's at right now in the last game, not his best, with 3 missed tackles. I don't know if DeVito's going to beat the Eagles, Ricardo, but I do think that the Giants could beat the Eagles. Divisional games always tougher. Remember that. You guys know that. The Lunatics said, I believe in Seattle at home, not the G-Men or the Cards. I think the Giants playing them twice in 3 weeks, it allows for less chance to change shit up. I think the Giants maybe will be more ready to play the Eagles the second time around. I hope it don't come down to the last game, but the Eagles will be more focused to make sure they tighten up and win that game if they win the first 2. So you hope they slip up here this week. They seem to be suffering right now. They got some guys out with some minor injuries. They're going to keep them out for at least 1 or 2 weeks. And this is where we need to see the Giants team really say, hey, let's get back. We have an outside chance for the playoffs. This is a divisional game. Let's go beat this fucking Eagles. And hey, I'm going to tell you one thing. I remember going back a couple years ago. They beat the Eagles in a similar situation when they were almost out of the playoffs. I think they were out of the playoffs at that point. And they beat the Eagles in a huge upset. And the Eagles were like the dominant team. I remember this happening once about the same time of the year. And we needed them to lose. I think we blew the game, though, as well. So, typical Cowboys. But again, I think that, the Eagles definitely can lose a little more than people think in this game at home against the Giants. But we'll see. We got to see it happen, right? Thomas Garrett in the house, the superior Garrett. Dave Walker, like I said, Mike Aldana, Cassie Stewart. Let me go back down and just kind of finish up strong here. The last couple of comments and then say goodnight. Unless you guys have any other last comments to say or think about here. Alonda said, Seabass, first and foremost, get well. my brother. Secondly, yes, he does. As in, let me see here. Dolphins had 70 points dropped by him. Yep, on the Broncos. The old Vic Fangio coached team. Seabass there. Alonda, of course, with the drop. She said, Seabass, Merry Christmas, get well before the holidays and before the big game. Yeah. Come on, let's get there. Let's get there, brother. Mary Alvarez in the house. Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is doing great. Feel a little under the weather. Oh, man. I hope you do take the vitamins, get the rest, take the NyQuil, and do feel better. She said, hopefully, God willing, feel better. Bless you all. God bless you all. And we all echo what the lunatic is saying. Feel better, Mary Alvarez. Yes. Feel better. Seabass, I'll be back after my appointment. You all keep this energy. You know we will. You know we definitely will. So appreciate you, Seabass. Appreciate everybody here in the house. Let me just go through the drops of love from above tonight. Starting with SnugX, pre-stream with the Cash App drops. You got amazing games. In-stream kicking it off here. Calvin Richard also kicking it off. In both in the Super Chats. Skeptical fan, staying skeptical. And then you got Landa. Hanselu. Dolphin fan, but the husband knows the right team. Her husband is a Cowboy fan. He's about to do some Miami Dolphin white skirt ripping. You know what I mean? That's when they take the L, she has to give up the skirt. He's got to rip it up. So, all I got to say is 2 words to that. Go Cowboys. Yeah. She said, my husband is big and strong as hell. He'd rip that shit with ease. Boom. Be prepared, Alonda. The ripping will begin very soon. Anyways, this is getting too crazy. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Again, shouted everybody out. Make sure you don't forget the like and sub and notification bell, all that good stuff. Shout out everybody out who dropped that love from above. And also, got to remind everybody, the leaders on these boards and the people repping these boards, like the sponsor of the week, the great Skeptical fan who went to bed a little while ago. Much love to him. He's also not just our sponsor of the week, but he is the membership gifting king. With 10 last week. We got 5. We want 6, right? But he gifted 10 memberships last week. So big shout outs to the man. Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical. And then you got other representation here from Stanley Smith, who's the Cash App king, back to back like our 90s Cowboys. 3 times winning this Cash App crown in 5 weeks. So much love to him. A lot of people running in the mix right now for that top spot in the Cash App this week. The leader, simply Jason Renfro. He's edging out other guys like Big D, Snug X right there in their tail, and a couple others. Smokey, I know, I seen him in the chat. He's also in the mix. We'll see what happens. Jason Renfro in the lead as going for that crown in the Cash App. He's, you got Bobby Bottles in the running there. When it comes to the gifting side, Jason Renfro is on the board, on the overall board. But Zach Luna hanging on with 8 points on the Stream Boss. Aikman 8. But he's in first place on the overall board as well. So he's repping all over MCF's channel here. Appreciate you, Zach Luna. Much love to you and everybody else repping on these boards this week. If you dropped the love, tonight. We shouted you out. Thank you for that. The wife always says, go Cowboys. We'll, she'll be back for the full, again, try to do a full show. We're going to have family coming in tomorrow all the way till Monday. So along with the game, it's going to be a lot of craziness going on. So we'll see how we can work in some stuff with you guys for these next couple of days. We'll definitely be talking Cowboys, Dolphins. Can't wait to continue this discussion. Take care, Alanda. Peace out. Smokey here. He said, when the Dolphins win, tell your husband, go ask himself and show me that skirt. There you go. Smokey telling you what to do. Alanda, you're funny. She's a little scared. She's like, hey, listen, you guys have a good team too. It's going to be a good matchup. Take care, Seabass. Peace. Play zone against Tyreek Hill. You'll get that hearing back, Seabass, and we're going to be repping it here. You'll be on the show here in no time. MB, I think the Dolphins lose big. We'll see what happens. Hey, if the Cowboys win 3 games or 2 games, we still need the Eagles to lose 1. That's it. So if we lose the Dolphins, we just got to go 2-0 at the end of the season against Detroit and Washington. Eagles, they just got to lose 1 against the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants. That's it. We know how it goes. We know what's going on here. We want 6. We got 5. We want 6. Thank you for dropping by here, dropping the knowledge and the love. Of course, remember, Why do we do this crazy thing every single night on YouTube? It's about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Here on this channel, we always rep that star over everything. And, of course, here on My Cowboys Family. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. 6 years and beyond, we've been doing this here. As always, say it with me. Come on, Alonda, say it with us. Go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond. All right, guys. Peace out in the chat. Thank you for dropping your knowledge. We learn, you learn, we all learn together. And, of course, appreciate, humbled by the drops of love from above. Always keeping the thing going here with My Cowboys Family for these, extra. Today is a much longer show than expected, I'll say that. Over 2 hours. I was like, this is an hour and a half tonight. You guys rocked it. Thank you, guys. Dropping your knowledge, dropping the love. Now it's time to drop out for the night. Relock, reload, clock out. But relock and reload for Fan Friday tomorrow. Christmas, holiday, family coming into town. And we're going to skin a dolphin. Yeah. That's what's happening. That's what's coming up here in My Cowboys Family in the next couple of days. Have a good one, guys. And as the wife always says, before we can drop out of here for the night, we got to drop the beat. Oh, yeah. That beat's been dropped. It is a wrap here on My Cowboys Family. Another Cowboys chat in the books. Boom. Right there. And you see what's coming. Our offense. CD. Schoonmaker and others, Gal, Cooks, but we got Dak Prescott leading the troops out in that field. The problem is, will we have number 70 and number 77 out there? That's the question at hand. We need the big whales out there, and right now the Dolphins looking a little whalish with some injuries they got on defense, but they definitely got some really good players that are definitely playing. And even those injuries on defense, talked about it all today. I expect them almost all of them to play, and if not, close to 90 to 100%. If they are in the game and they're not 100%. So hey, we'll see what happens. We got more to talk about it tomorrow. Keys to victory. We got matchups, predictions, all that on Friday and Saturday. Join us right here on MCF, where it's always about that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything, and never ever forget the number one thing here in My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone in the house, even the Dolphin fans in the house, like Alonda. Everybody here, the MCF family, appreciate you all. Make sure you don't forget to hit that like button for the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. Put it on to all videos so you know we're going live on the nightly. We're on X, Twitter, whatever, all social media at My Cowboys Family, Discord, on beyond. Stay safe, everyone. Much love to all. Have a good night, a good Friday to end your week. And we'll see you back here on Fan Friday. Peace, and never ever forget, go Cowboys!